really should be, because I got a notice for the other stuff, and just do one night
Right.
for
Yeah,
all
we
the
got, we
bylaw
gotta
stuff.
lock down one night and just get rid of you know, we've gotta
So
do the
right now
solar,
it's-
we've gotta do the wind. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the planning board meeting of January 8th, 2014. Happy New Year. Tonight in attendance, we have Christopher Rich, Tilly Evangelista, myself, I'm Harry Locatilia. We have Howard Snyder as our agent, Wendy Beaumont taking the minutes as the administrative assistant. Without any further ado, time being 7:08, the planning board meeting is hereby called to order.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Rich,
I move that we accept the minutes of December 11th, 2013, subject to any changes of my colleagues. Edits of my colleagues.
sounds like a plan. That's, a
Second.
motion's been made to accept the minutes of December 11th, 2013,
The minutes.
seconded by Tilly. Discussion.
Anybody?
My understanding is that, we have already made the changes.
I did, that's why I sent out an email to both yourself and to Tilly, and I
Right.
got your second email, Tilly, and I found
Okay, great.
where you were talking about, so they've all been made.
Sure, if you found corrections, and they're corrected, did you
Everything's fine
see
by me.
anything? I'm sure Bob and Tim agree. All in favor of accepting the minutes with the corrections made for December 11th, 2013, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. That's done. Done. Correspondence, Howard, would you
Well, a
regale
while
us with the
back,
correspondence, sir?
I started speaking with the developer of Harmony Lane and advised him if he wanted Harmony Lane to be considered for street acceptance, he needed to send a request saying as such to the Board of Selectmen. The Board of Selectmen formalized their referral of that request to the planning board in a letter that was provided in the correspondence. So with approval of the planning board, the planning office will initiate evaluation of Harmony Lane for street acceptance at annual town meeting.
So this is the letter that confirms the Board of Selectmen's referral to the planning board.
Right.
For the report. We get back to them the report, and then it gets onto the town warrant for street acceptance.
Right, we refer back to them what our opinion is, and they can act upon that opinion and put it on the warrant. And we have 45 days to report back.
The clock's ticking.
Yep.
Great. Next, right, and how do we go about the process of doing that report? You write it up and,
Well,
We do it, or what-
I'll
what
talk
do you wanna-
to the
Think that
site
one through.
inspecting engineer, and I'll talk to the technical review engineer to see what the as-bills, and they provided a street acceptance plan, and to see if it's all up to everything the planning board requested be done,
Mm-hmm.
and if the street was designed and constructed for acceptance by the town.
we've already asked Dave for that, haven't we?
It's been going on a
So
similar
we have all the
track as the
background
letter.
information for this all compiled, we just
We're
need to
actually
put it all
ahead of the
together.
game a little bit,
Yeah.
so.
So we put it as a bullet item for the next meeting or something like that?
Maybe the next meeting, or
generate a
first meeting in
report?
February.
And we can generate the report or vote on it? and-
Yeah, it can be an oral written report.
Did they save us a spot for this, or is it, the warrant closed yet?
No, the warrant hasn't opened yet,
Oh.
Open yet.
but the developer and his legal counsel wrote a letter requesting consideration the selectmen layout Harmony Lane.
Great.
We received correspondence from the Town of Georgetown Zoning Board of Appeals regarding their recent action on Dunkin' Donuts Plaza. And you also received a copy of some correspondence that I've been copied on from the building department regarding Caruso and McGovern, which is the operation over at One Industrial Way. And beyond those two letters,
Excuse me, I'm very sorry. Excuse me one moment, Howard.
I just lost
Wendy, would you let the record show that, oh yeah, that thing will go to sleep. No, it went to sleep. That thing will go to sleep. Hit a couple of buttons and it should pop back up. And, let the record show that Bob Watts shows up at, what is it, 7:12, please? Do it all over there. You're gonna love that machine, I'm telling you. It goes to sleep.
It's not necessary yet.
This plan, that, can I go back to the, Dunkin' Donuts?
Well, we never got away from it. I interrupted Howard very rudely to make sure that the record showed that Bob Watts was here, and, Bob, just to let you know, we're under correspondence. We approved the minutes already for December 11th. We talked about, the correspondence from the Selectman's office for Harmony Lane. That's gonna be referred, that's already been referred to us by the Selectman, and, we're on correspondence number 2.
Very good.
CPA Dunkin' Donuts.
Thank you.
This, number 6 here, is this a proposal, or is this the way it is today? I was,
Tilly, I'll be honest with you, that's just way too small a drawing for me to
I couldn't
even
read it
begin to look
anywhere.
at. I can't discern anything there.
I couldn't-
I'm assuming,
What's the date on it?
I'm assuming that these plans are plans that were attached as
We have
part of,
copies in the
as
planning
part of
office.
this decision, right?
Right.
When was this decision? December 16th, 2013?
It was received,
Received by the
By
town
the
clerk?
town clerk.
yeah, it was over by then.
Well, yeah, the decision was issued and signed, I would imagine. Right, yeah, signed the 11th and the 12th.
They
December.
originally got this July.
Right, but the decision was December 11th and 12th, I guess. And these are the plans that are associated with it. Now, will this come to us for
It
site
needs
plan
to come to us for site plan.
review?
It also needs to go through Concom for various items because of Pembroke that's in the back.
Oh, right, the Pembroke runs behind there. Pembroke River runs behind there, so there's a lot. I remember being on Concom when this originally came through. That was you? That was funny. Yes. It goes through.
Are they adding?
Looks
to
a
that?
little bit different now. But, yeah, we actually put a big membrane back there to hold the water, but create an area, a detention area that would capture all the water before it went into the pond and clean it.
Are they adding to the building? Or just
No,
change?
I believe what they'll come in for a site plan is they're gonna be reworking the site a little bit to accommodate different uses inside medical offices and things like that. They need to expand their septic, so it's gonna be coming before the Board of Health.
Medical uses?
I believe they wanna get some medical offices in there.
They're in there already. They're in there.
It's a physical
There's still got
therapy.
some vacant space. I don't think they could add more without
The
expansion of their
vacant one,
septic.
as I understood it, was gonna be, and I read this, is going to be a driving school? Is that where they're gonna put them? Because they're adding a driving school to the existing uses.
Great place. Somebody could teach them how to read signs that say entrance and exit.
They'll be the only ones who know how to do that.
And they might be able to correct the sign that says
Yeah, no left turn.
no left
left
turn,
turn.
where then the next sign says turn left.
Left.
The arrow in the road says turn left here.
I hardly get over this, I
That
don't know
might be the
what's
driving
in there.
test.
Maybe that's it.
I'm sorry.
When's that coming in, Howard? Have they filed?
No, they haven't filed
They haven't
anything.
filed yet?
They haven't even contacted the planning office to understand what application's required.
So this is just the first heads up, hey,
Yeah.
here
Well,
it comes.
It's just
It's
some
nice to see the
information from zoning
ZBA
board.
sending us these things when they make the decision.
Yeah.
That's really helpful. I know that they made a decision for Noonan's, and we never saw it. But,
Really?
yeah,
Oh,
we never saw it. I ended up just happened to see it online,
Oh,
because it got recorded.
Patty's been very good about
Yeah.
contacting the office.
And it's wonderful that
planning
we're getting
office,
them.
all the
It's
other
great,
departments.
it's great that we're getting them. It really helps. I mean, the two boards have to work together. We eventually get it after they get it, and whatever they approve, we have to deal with the site plan.
We don't need a protection of the turf, we need a protection of the town.
And you copied us on all the past permits for the area? For that plaza?
Patty did, right.
That's great. Thanks, Patty. And what's the next one? Is the building department with respect to Caruso and McGovern. I was not at the meeting when this was,
He issued a cease and desist.
yeah, I saw the email, the zoning enforcement officer, building inspector,
Yeah.
Right,
issued a cease and desist because of all the noise.
yeah.
And what happened with that? Do we have a follow-up on that, or is this just
We,
letting us know
this is
that?
just information,
CC?
because this issue first came before the planning board. And it was determined that there wasn't a planner in the the office at the time, so it's a DEP issued permit, with
ABC
oversight as needed by the Board of Health, and until recently, there hasn't been any issue, so it's come to the building inspector. He went out and he did a visual walk around, and he did a testing and determined that the use was vibration and sound was going off the site, and so that's why he issued the order. And there hasn't been any correspondence given to the planning office since then about what has occurred, so.
The fact
Any,
that there
any
was,
comment about the size of the piles for the storage with respect to the permit? Did
No.
you hear of anything about that?
No.
Interesting.
I think that's a lame excuse to blame it on because we didn't have a planner. We still had this board, and we had all the other boards in action, so that's no excuse.
Yeah, but you had a building inspector at the time that, well, at any rate.
He's
Moving
got
on,
a sign-off sheet.
moving right along. Wanna go to the vouchers, guys?
Why not?
Okay, somebody give me a
Mr. Chairman.
voucher
as soon as I-
motion?
As soon as I get to them, I would move that we accept the vouchers as presented.
A motion's been made to accept the vouchers as presented, seconded by Tilly.
Yep, second it.
Thank you, Tilly.
The first voucher is general office supplies from WB Mason. The second voucher we're presenting is for our annual subscription to the Mass Land Court Reporter, which keeps the planning office and other land use departments apprised of current land court proceedings in the Commonwealth.
I'm confused,
It's
Howard.
added, he's reading it not in the same sequence as it's
Okay.
presented.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
We're
Sorry,
looking
I'm
at
reading
this-
it
we're getting
as
a
it's
BSC
presented on
group.
the agenda.
Oh, okay.
We're
I'm looking at a
looking
BSC group for 1664.
BSC,
Which
that's
one's
at the
that?
top of the
Harmony
agenda.
Lane,
That's number 5?
it's number 5.
Okay. That's Dave Varga.
BSC Group also presented for Stone Row Review,
Okay.
and I
What's
actually,
this Harmony Lane's the one we were just referring to, part of the background work for accepting that lane?
it was his last site inspection as well as review as the as-built and street acceptance plan.
Good, that's all that background that we were talking about, right?
Right.
Good.
And then there's one for Turning Leaf. The review, the planning board requested the technical review engineer do for the Lisa Lane extension for the OSRD.
I'm looking at Stone Row from Varga. BSC Group Stone Row review?
Yeah, he's almost done reviewing and finalizing. the
2 hours
as-built.
at Stone Row, that's all it says is review of the as-built. That's what it's saying.
And he's not done? Why is Stone Road taking this long?
Well, the proponent of it is he's not a developer, he's a resident on the street, so. As I recall, the last outstanding issues were the monuments, and he finally got the engineer to place the monuments properly on the as-built plan, and Dave Vargas should be nearly, that's the last thing, so he should be the only one.
And next is WB Mason. You got a planner's book coming out from WB. Grand total $18.49. And we have a, what's this one for $2.30 for Laidlaw?
Right.
And that's Land Court Reporter, right? That adds to the book. What, they send you an update every month?
Yep.
That book goes to getting pretty fast,
Every
huh?
month we
Oh,
get
yeah.
an update.
Wow,
Yep.
I
Every
didn't realize
decision,
that.
every Land Court decision, yeah.
I'd like to.
Oh, it's a huge book.
I should
It's
be
pretty.
down there to pick it up.
It's a pretty thing.
I got one of
It's too
those,
heavy
but
to pick
it's.
up.
It's
It's too heavy to
thick.
pick up.
Oh,
You
I
need a
got one of
two-wheel
those,
dolly.
but
You need one of
it's
those
old.
hand cats.
Can you share with some of us at another time, maybe or by email, the
Yeah.
online access?
Oh, okay.
for-
I thought that had been done a while ago, but I can get that.
Not for the reporter. We've had the access for the, what's that one that comes out of? I don't
I
know where they
still
come out.
can't get it.
Yeah.
Well, our subscriptions run out on that anyhow, so.
Good.
It really wasn't. I didn't derive that much value
Yeah,
out
I
of it.
agree with
really
you.
didn't.
And after paying attention to it, I just,
Yeah. This, however,
I think,
If it has a
I think
search
my problem
function.
is I want something in my hand.
if this has a search, look at the print button.
That's
Just want to hit that print button and
not all them pages.
This would be good. If you could send that out tomorrow or whenever, that would be helpful, Hal.
Okay.
Blast that out to the board, please. And that looks to be about it, huh? Oh, what are we looking at? H.L. Graham? Turning Leaf Review, East Land Extension. Is that the definitive subdivision, or is that the,
That's
Preliminary.
the Preliminary plan.
that's the preliminary plan review?
OSRD preliminary plan.
Gotcha. Gotcha. One-
We have not received his first report on the definitive plan yet.
okay.
Did you try to reach him? 'Cause
We did, and he requested some information from us to help compile his report, and that was between Christmas and the New Year, and we should be getting it shortly.
Tough time of year. Tough time of year.
He didn't give you an ETA though.
Almost.
Almost. Soon?
Soon, yeah,
Soon.
quarter to soon.
Okay, everybody, you've heard them. That's all 5 of them. All in favor of, do we have a total, Howard, here?
No, we didn't do that.
Okay.
We missed our mark on that.
That's why I said as presented.
Yes. Okay. Why don't we, for the record, well, hang on, let's
Just
total
approve
it
each
up.
one of them.
You wanna do each one?
Each one you should list,
I
yeah.
just went through them individually, as we just went through them.
Did you get all those totals down? As we were
I don't
saying?
normally put the.
No, I know
date,
you don't, that's why I'm
Coming
saying,
out
let's
of
just
But
get a
we
total.
have them on paper.
Coming out of the
Right, the
planning
record
board
doesn't.
office is 2 vouchers for a total of $248.49.
Yeah,
The other
rest is
3
all
come out of Emmekins.
So moved, Mr. Democratic, money warrior. It's an oxymoron, isn't it?
No. Someone's gotta watch you Republicans. Okay, as, the motion was to to approve the vouchers as presented, seconded by Tilly, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Right.
All opposed, the ayes have it, motion carries unanimously. Almost voted no on that one out of principle. I like having the totals, and I like seeing the amounts in the minutes.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
It's another crazy idea. And right now, we have public hearings.
Park and Rec's not here.
Park and Rec is not here. I don't think Jefferson Court wants to begin right now because this is a special permit. You don't have 5 people sitting there. Okay, so, why don't we,
Well, Park and Rec's not here. I mean, what time is their hearing supposed to be?
have we gotten any information from them?
We got some information from Lou, and I heard from Lou and Jim Demento that they would be here.
Park and Rec has their meeting right now. This is part of the problem.
We were the bad guys that were holding them up, you know?
Yeah. Yes, let the record show that the chair recognizes, Mitch Croner Esquire.
I believe we're under subdivision control. We're coming in as a court.
Yeah, we'll discuss that. You are coming in as a court, and in 2011, May, we added to the zoning definitions to make lanes and courts special permit.
That was a special permit.
Yeah.
Are there not enough people to vote on it or something?
There are enough people to vote on it, but because it's a special permit, it'll be a supermajority, you need 4 out of 5. So, just in deference to the applicant, it would probably be best,
To get
again,
5.
to have at least 5, bearing in mind that also the other hearing that's been continued tonight, the other public hearing for East Main Street Park and Rec Facility, that one also is a special permit that requires 4 out of 5. So, just sort of holding off. We have some business we can do.
I wanted to clarify that a little bit.
You missed
Yeah.
one.
I didn't miss any of them. I didn't sign any.
No, but Tilly missed one.
Tilly missed one. Oh, heavens.
Why aren't you signing?
Because you 3 can sign. I'm the chair.
You coward.
Well, could I suggest also new business?
Absolutely. New business,
Charlie
old
brought a
business.
Under new
Old business?
business is 161 West Main Street.
Okay, I'm seeing it as old business, but 161 West Main Street, it probably should be new business, right? Yeah.
The chairman requested I provide the planning board with a copy of the decision approval for the project.
we go.
That's in your supplemental
Would,
packet.
would we, could I interrupt you 1 second? I'm sorry, Howard. Could we let the record reflect that, Tim Howard arrives at, what is it, 25 past?
27.
7:27. I love your precision, Wendy. Love your precision. I'm sorry. Welcome, Tim. Happy New Year, man. We moved right down the line. We haven't opened any of the hearings yet. We were sort of waiting for you. We walked through there's an amended agenda. You'll probably find it up there. And probably that single sheet for the amended agenda is probably that single sheet there or something, maybe. I don't know. Does he have the?
No.
Oh, I'm the only one? Okay. At any rate, we've gone through the approval of minutes, the correspondence, the vouchers. We've held off on the public hearing. And we're now dealing with an old business, which is 161 West Main Street.
Oh,
And
the
you'll remember
elevator
that.
thing?
Yeah, the lack of HP access
Yeah.
after a year. So we're just starting to do that now.
Well, it sounds like John Mativier said there's not much to do about it now.
Well, we have some correspondence here, and Howard was just about to tell us about the supplemental package.
The supplemental packet contains the decision of approval as well as some correspondence between the planning office and the building inspector. You signed all these, Tilly?
Yeah.
Actually, between the applicant and the planning office. He is going to be coming in to meet with the planning board at the next meeting.
Who's he?
The
applicant?
John Sosa,
John?
who is the proponent of the
The
161.
owner of the,
Oh,
Owner
yeah,
of
he's
the
the guy
property.
that owns the firm
And,
there?
I just had requested he come in and provide documents about what he's doing to meet all the requirements in the decision of approval.
okay,
And I believe there are two. It's the ADA access, which is a special condition requested by the board, as well as the installation of the signs along.
Signs, no parking
the
signs
no
or something?
parking signs.
Right, and as I recall, Georgetown's DPW was gonna install the signs and then charge the property owner. So he's gonna be coming in and giving an update about those
Okay.
at the next meeting in 2 weeks.
Is there correspondence from the building inspector concerning the HP?
Just,
What?
not to jump off of that, but there's also a condition H that says the curb stops have to be at each parking space. And then the lot's gonna be restriped. So it's actually three things that we seem to be waiting on. One was the HP access to the lower floor for the business itself.
The ADA access.
The
right.
ADA access, excuse me. It's not HP access anymore, is it? It's ADA access. My apologies.
Why is it
Politically incorrect.
every time we allow differential approval to extend them to completed the conditions, we get, this is what we get.
Did
I'm
the
at the
last
point-
time I afforded to anybody.
I feel that way as well. Yeah.
Well, there's a couple things we have to deal with. We have the ADA access, we have the parking signs, as you said, and curb stops and restriping of the parking area, right?
Right.
And
So-
So maybe some of that's been completed already. I haven't been out to the site
Well, we'll take
before
a,
the snow falls, so
when
he
you
comes
said he's
in.
coming in at our next meeting?
Yeah.
In 2 weeks? Sounds good.
I think that ADA should be noted in our requirements area, regulations and
It's the
in the
law.
zoning.
It's the law.
I know it's the law, but this, we ought to be addressing it all the time, and I don't think it has happened except for this one, as far as I know.
This
Well,
is
it
the
happened-
only
it
time.
happened
it's-
to be
Every time
BOA.
we have single, like when, the donut place in the building center. Don't you remember the
Honeydew.
questions asked about
There were
the
questions.
accessible parking?
Yeah, right.
I think your point is well taken.
But I
It's
think
the
it is,
law, and
but-
it's something that we should make sure that we're
But-
attentive to.
Well, as
so we
John
say
I think we are.
As John Mativier said, though, that we were supposed to have inspected that prior to his issuing the certificate of occupancy, not him. He said we were, our agent was supposed to.
Well, it was that the
we
board
didn't-
allowed
we didn't
the
have an agent.
installation after the CO was issued, and John Sosa, the proponent, the applicant, would be coordinating with the building inspector on the installation of it.
I read what John Mativier said, it sounded kind of like.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
I
then
did
it
too,
comes
I
up
don't
to
see
us.
it
Saying,
there.
yeah, you guys
I don't
screwed
see
up.
this.
Yeah, but it's up to John to enforce the conditions on this permit, all permits. And I think that the occupancy permit should not hold him back from doing that. Obviously, it didn't for this other issue on
Caruso
Industrial
and
Way, and it shouldn't on anything.
He should have granted us a limited occupancy permit, such that at the expiration of the 1-year time frame or whatever, it was, that would expire
Yeah.
and then need to be re-upped.
Conditions, yeah.
Right, so that really should fall back on his lap, not ours.
Interesting.
Exactly.
I think what the email basically was saying was, John was pointing out that there's a flaw in the process. And the flaw to that process is that when this, or any board, ZBA or whatever, does a condition, creates a condition that's delayed for a point of time after that occupancy permit is already issued, a great deal of the incentive for the applicant is gone to meet that condition, because
Maybe it'll be
Not
the
really,
occupancy
though.
permit's done.
He's gonna find out real quick.
But in his email, John said he wants to work with us to figure out a way to
Well, according to,
modify the process so that things like this don't happen.
You know, here's a board that's, instead of insisting on it being done right away, because a school needs to be opened up right away,
right, they couldn't wait.
bends over backwards for them, and now we're getting our face pushed in it.
That's
No
my
good deed
feelings
goes unpunished.
There
exactly.
you go.
How
That's
true.
the way
So we'll
I
be
was-
dealing with this next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what I wanted to note, and I'm trying to find it here, is there is an enforcement in the bylaw that would grant the building inspector that
I got this.
he can address.
You have a citation for me?
It is page 83, site approval. It's the T enforcement, and
Page
right there
83, site
is-
approval?
Yeah, right there explains how and what the building inspector
you
can
have a-
enforce.
You have a, like a chapter and verse, chapter 165 or
It
site
probably
approval?
is 165. What was it, 83?
Did you say page 83?
Page 83.
Oh, there's 83. But it all
Right here.
depends on enforcement
Yeah.
and bonding.
Yeah, and this is from,
This is T, section T,
yeah,
enforcement and bonding.
and this is site plan approval 16583. On page 83.
165-83,
Yeah,
section T.
yeah.
There's gotta be a number before that.
One.
1T.
I gave you the number there, the bylaw.
Section
It's all by itself.
165-83.
Enforcement and
T.
bonding, T. And that explains everything that he's,
I'll have to take a peek at that.
okay.
Now, we're gonna sort of put that all together for us the
Yeah.
the next
I'll
week.
be happy to.
Yeah, and let's just track it out and figure what's going on.
Okay.
Great. It's good to hear that Mr. Sousa's coming in.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be interesting.
Sure.
And,
Mr. Chairman,
yes, Mr. Rich.
I'd like to move that we take Jefferson Court out of order in our public hearings for the sake of time, seeing that the one on our list prior to that may take a lot long, may take some time. And I know, not that I want to keep Mr. Attorney Cronin's income down, but I don't want to have these people be paying him by the hour for sitting here watching us.
I'm looking at it a
Janice, we may
completely
be-
different way, and I'm looking at number of volunteers out there from the Park and Rec, and I think they should go first.
Well, then why don't we vote on the motion?
Absolutely. What's your motion?
That we take Jefferson Court out of order.
to take
We're all volunteers. I'm
Jefferson.
gonna be here for the duration.
court first tonight. And that's Mr. Rich's motion. Is there a second?
A second.
Oh, Tilly seconds. There really isn't too much discussion to have on that, is there?
Well, what time was Park and Rec supposed to start?
They were both supposed to start at 7:01 and 7:02. Actually, we do it incorrectly. We don't ever do it right.
They were supposed to start at 7 o'clock.
Date and time, and we never
Why
do
don't we
it.
start
finish.
somebody?
Hear me out on the discussion, because
Could we
I
move this
understand what
along?
you're saying, and I think what's fair is fair. At 7 o'clock, the people from Jefferson Ave were here and ready to go. The board didn't have the correct amount of people. They've still been here, they've been waiting, and I think it's only right that that's what happens. And if you feel otherwise, that because someone comes in at 7:30 for a 7 o'clock hearing, and they should be called for somebody else, because we chose to do administrative stuff rather than take the public hearing, then let my colleagues vote that way.
And in deference to everything you said, Park and Rec is a continuation. That's been going on for a while, and Jefferson Court is a brand-new subdivision. I think we should deal with the old business before we deal with something brand new. But that's just my opinion. Any other comments or discussion?
Well, the comment that I would have is that I wasn't prepared for any discussion about East Main Street. We haven't heard from Larry. So all I was looking for is another date.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be pretty damn quick.
Well,
Probably gonna be pretty quick, because anything that came in didn't come in
We
1
weren't
week
expecting
prior.
any comments from Larry about the Park and Rec.
No, but anything that
Weren't
was
you
submitted
sending it
didn't
to
come
him
in 1
for
week
a,
prior to this meeting, so
calculation?
we really can't review it.
No.
So we didn't get any calculations.
We got calculations, I didn't send them to Larry.
Can't,
Why
it just
not?
came in today,
And that's why they're here to present.
so we might as well
Information.
dispense with that now. And that's my opinion.
that
You
being
got-
the case, I'll withdraw my motion if the second will withdraw it.
Is the second withdrawn?
No, I'm
No.
still, I want to hear what Howard has to say.
Yeah, but we can then hear what Howard has to say.
All right,
But if that's, trust me, Ms. Tilly.
hold
that
on a
being-
second. Let me get myself straightened out here.
Straight to her, yeah.
You're the one that made the motion.
Last meeting, we all voted for calculations.
Correct.
Howard got the calculations, but Larry didn't get them. So how come Larry didn't get them?
He just told you.
Hey,
that.
are you on
He
public
received-
hearing to
he
discuss
Tilly,
this now?
Tilly,
He received them today.
we will be opening that hearing at some point, whether it's 10 minutes from now or 2.5 hours from now. That's the appropriate time to ask that question, with all due respect. Right now, the only question on the floor is whether or not you want to withdraw your second.
I don't.
In that case, I'm gonna call the question. All in favor of taking Jefferson Court before we take East Main Street, say aye.
I'm in discussion.
Oh, okay.
I
that's
know
fine.
we're not having the hearing now. We're discussing whether to have it now. And my point is,
Discussing
No,
whether
just
or
the
not to
sequence.
take-
It's just
whether
the
or not-
sequence.
Sequence.
Why,
Alright.
I don't know why we are going through this. I
The
mean,
horse is dead,
can we
why are
just
we
move
beating
it?
him anymore?
Cause this is what we do.
I'm not
Anybody like
trying
to
to
volunteer
beat
to be the
horse.
chair to this?
I think you're not
Not me,
understanding.
pal.
I mean, we come in and we get an agenda that says continued. It doesn't say that there's gonna be any discussion, explanation, or anything else on this agenda. It just says, we're going to get a date to me, we're gonna get a date to have another hearing.
Yeah, Tilly, that's something I write in to show that public hearing is a continuance, and the other one just says it's a new one, so.
It means it was
The
continued
Park and
from a
Rec is
previous
a
date.
continued public hearing.
Right.
It's not a
From a
first
previous
public hearing.
date, it was
Yeah,
continued.
They're not
so when
coming
I
in?
see that continued there, that means we're gonna have a whole new hearing on this?
It's a continuance from. a
We're not
previous
just gonna
one.
hear a date for extending?
No, they're
resume
here
the
because it's a
hearing.
continued public hearing to
Resume the
present
hearing. It's a
new
continued-
information.
Okay, so when you do that, you usually give us a lot of backup, a lot of copying for the hearing.
When I receive information, correct.
Yeah, we didn't get anything.
That's
Right.
correct. That's exactly, isn't that what you're saying?
Yeah, they're here to present.
Right, we haven't received anything.
I have a great
That's
suggestion.
why
don't
I
we-
am withdrawing my motion,
I
folks.
would like to move this
Okay.
forward.
Oh,
Is
and
that
I
why you did it?
apologize for the motion.
Oh, all right.
That's not
All
bad,
right.
it only took 8 minutes.
That's
Sorry,
what
you
I'm-
guys, I just wanted
Is
to
that
be
withdrawn?
sure.
Is the second withdrawn?
Yeah, I'll
8
withdraw
minutes.
it.
Let the record show that the second is withdrawn. I will now open the hearing for the Park and Rec East Main Street continuation. Great. Welcome, Lou. Hi, Jim. Let the record show Lou Mamelette, the engineer for the Park and Rec Commission, is in attendance, as is James Demento, Chair of the Park and Rec.
I received updated plans and a report from Lou, and I have copies to distribute to the planning board. Full-size plans if you want. They were, Lou and I met and we received them today.
So we have updated plans
Yeah,
and a letter
Right. Lou also
Dated-
provided me with
dated
electronic
January
copies
6th. Right.
that currently we don't have overhead projections, so
Do we have another copy for Bob?
there should be 5.
Oh, we got a double up there.
Thank you.
Yeah, my laptop's failed right now, so
another one.
Oh, you have 6? You can give one back to Howard, so he has 2 for the file.
I have.
Hi, Lou. Hi, Jim. Glad to see that you got back to us. In light of the fact that we only received these this afternoon, really sorry, but I'm not gonna read it. You gotta get them in a week before so that we have time to review them. We have some time. Wouldn't do it for an applicant, not gonna do it for you guys. Accept the motion to forward these to Larry Graham for review. Motion by Chris to forward received information to Larry Graham,
Second.
seconded by Tilly. Discussion? Not hearing any discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Lou, do you have?
All
it on the
opposed?
machine?
Motion carries
Doesn't seem to be.
It's right here.
unanimously.
I don't think they're letting us do anything.
That's all gonna be forwarded to Larry Graham. You want a continuance date? Or do you
Yeah,
wanna
2
close
weeks.
Tonight.
2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Yeah.
I think that's impossible, isn't it?
We got a full agenda for the 22nd.
What's our next open night?
We don't have a public hearing scheduled yet for the first one in February.
Is that when we're doing the solar and the wind?
No, we're doing solar was continued to January, the second meeting in January. And
Okay,
then
second
I
meeting
need
in January.
adequate time to do all the public noticing and everything for all the other bylaws.
Mhm.
So I'm recommending to the board that the second meeting in February be fully dedicated for everything that the board's gonna continue to take on more.
That's all the bylaw one.
All the bylaw
Medical
work.
marijuana, solar, wind.
Right,
That's the second one in February.
right.
So the first one in February open?
Yep.
Accept the motion to continue.
Move we continue to 12,
First meeting.
2/12.
First meeting, 2/12? Is that what it is? 2/12?
What time?
Actually, it's supposed to be a date and time certain.
Why don't we make it 7:30? That seems to be
Yeah.
the best time.
At 7:30? That gave you guys enough time to do your meeting first? And get up here?
Yeah, we'll post it early.
7:30? 7:30 PM. Motions for 2/12/14 at 7:30 PM. Seconded by Tilly. Did you second that?
Yeah.
Tilly? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thanks, guys.
Now, Lou provided the planning office with 4 full-size copies, but he also provided the
We have
planning.
e-copies?
We have electronic copies,
As long as we have e-copies.
so I can send
We
those
have
out to the
e-copies.
board.
As long as we have e-copies. Not a problem. Moving right along. Definitive subdivision, the opening of the public hearing for the definitive subdivision for Jefferson Court.
Now, Mr. Chairman, can I explain something about
I think the first thing we need to do is to read the public notice.
But I want to, in, my explanation has to do with how this was noticed.
Okay, go for it.
So, the definitive subdivision was noticed in, the newspapers as a, application for a definitive subdivision plan. It was to be considered what was gonna happen with the court if the planning board was gonna request that the court continue as such, then it would be then filed as a special permit, or would they continue just as a definitive subdivision plan? So, you do have 5 members here, and those 5 members can decide when this gets continued, if there's also gonna be notice for special permit for the court.
Well, in 2011, one of the changes that was made at the May 4th or 5th meeting was, at the town meeting, was we added, what was it, 16573.2 to the bylaw. And that's in our zoning code now.
Right.
Basically, it makes lanes and courts special permit. That was done because, well, we were getting a lot of courts and lanes that were just sort of meeting the regulatory dimensional requirements of the courts and the lanes, and basically they were getting jammed into lots that they really shouldn't have been. And so the town meeting agreed with us when we asked them to change that, to make that a special permit, so that we can ensure that these courts and lanes don't just pop up anywhere and just get jammed in and basically jammed down the throat of the planning board. So I hope you understand that this is a special permit. You need a supermajority, 4 out of 5 votes to move forward. You'll also need a supermajority of 4 or 5 votes to grant any of the waivers that you'll be requesting. And I saw from the plans that you had a couple on there. And does anybody mind if we don't go through the mechanics of reading the public notice?
I'll make a motion to waive the reading,
Motion by Chris,
Second.
if
waive,
that's okay with, the applicant.
yes, waive the public notice reading.
And enter the written one into the record.
Absolutely, and enter the written one into the record. Is there a second for that?
Second.
Seconded by Bob. All in favor of waiving the reading of the public notice?
Aye.
Right.
Aye. Motion carries. 5-0. And, well, if you'd be kind enough, if you'd introduce yourselves for the record and
For the
tell
rec-
us what's going on.
Yep, for the record, Attorney Mitchell Croner, representing the applicant. I have with me Steve DeHulu, who is the applicant, Steve DeHulu of Groveland.
Did you spell the last name, please?
Yep, DEHULLU.
Thank you.
And we have Bill Holt, who is the engineer.
So what's up?
All right, so just so I can understand first, on the special permit, which I do have a copy of, I guess I had read that it's in addition to the regulations in your in other words, your regulations.
Uh-huh.
You use that in addition as part of the special permit, is that what you're saying? I mean, these the regulations you have here for courts, those are
For
still.
courts and lanes.
Right, so that's still, those are still the regulations.
Those are the regulations,
But
exactly.
that's not the only ones. You'd still follow the subdivision requirements.
Exactly, exactly. So there's the subdivision requirements,
There's the full-blown definitive subdivision requirement.
Right.
30-foot wide, 24-foot wide pavement.
right,
Sidewalk, grass strip.
Right.
Et cetera. And then there are the court and lane, and this is a court, so you define it by court. There are the court requirements, which are much lesser. And, yeah, they're laid out in there.
right. And then, in addition, you need a special permit.
Right.
Over on top of that, you need a special
Over on
permit.
top of that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a special permit.
Okay.
Courts and lanes.
So it's under subdivision control,
Mhm.
but you still need a special permit.
Under zoning.
That's right.
Okay.
You got it.
Okay. All right. First, a little background. You may recall this site, a couple of years ago, I had represented the prior owners, Barbara Johnson and Jonathan Holt. This was the proposed site for a independent senior housing. And as you also may recall, there was a zoning article submitted because this district only allowed one bedroom for independent senior housing, and the applicant at that time was seeking two. So there was a public hearing on that. That's how it became before this board. Subsequent to that, my prior clients, and just for the record, I've been asked by the new owner, now that he owns the property, to represent him. So the prior clients, meeting was held with the abutters, some of whom were here tonight, at the Erie Four. And it was determined after that meeting that the independent senior housing would not be a good idea for that site. So the prior owners put the property up for sale, and frankly, we're looking for a builder who would do a nice job on the lot. This was property, 78 North Street, was in the...
Can I just
Yes,
interrupt you
yes.
1 minute? My apologies. If you want to put those up, I think you'll, if you knock on that door, I think you'll find an easel in there somewhere, Bill. May make it a little bit easier. Give them a knock, they can probably locate one for you. My apologies.
Yeah, sure.
May I ask just,
Yes.
a question? When, how long ago was that?
That was, I don't, were you in the, it was
No.
spring of 2012.
Fine, thank
Was that before you were on the?
Yeah.
Okay. So this was spring 2012.
Thank you.
Okay, I thought we had one.
I'm a new guy.
Yes, I thought we had one new member since then. So in any event, it was determined after discussions with the abutters that this was not gonna be a good fit for the site. So the property was put up for sale, and the owners were looking for someone such as Mr. DeHulu, who was a well-known builder in the area. You know, they wanted to still do something that was nice for the neighborhood.
Mitch, can I interrupt you?
Yes.
That ISH proposal, didn't that incorporate another lot as well that was gonna be?
Yes,
they were
I'll
gonna use
yeah, I'll
another
explain
lot.
that. Yeah, I'll explain
Oh, okay.
that.
Right.
There was also a lot at 76 North Street,
Mm-hmm.
which was a property that, you can just show the map, Bill. That was the property had a burned, there had been a fire,
Mm-hmm.
so that was torn down, and Mr. DeHulu has built a new house on that lot.
Was that a fire or a controlled burn by the fire
No,
department?
that was a fire.
Oh, my God.
Fire, all right. So they purchased 76, you're correct. They were gonna combine the two as part of the independent senior housing. 76 is a standalone lot. It's it met zoning, so he was able to get a building, Steve was able to get a building
setback.
permit on that.
Has 125
Right,
foot of frontage,
right,
et
right.
cetera.
So that's not part of this. And I guess I should explain right now, might be a good time as long as you raise that, Mr. Chairman. I know some of the neighbors were upset that 78 North Street has been in a state of disrepair for years. And the explanation for that is that 78 is a non-conforming lot. And as the board is aware, especially those of you that have been on the zoning board, you would lose your nonconformity after 2 years. So under Massachusetts law, it was necessary to, unfortunately, keep that house there to preserve the nonconforming status of the lot because it lacks adequate frontage. So just, so, you know, I know some of the neighbors were upset about that. I guess to summarize, there's enough area on 78, it was formerly a two-family house, there's enough area that there could have been a lane. In other words, 3 houses could have fit on this. It was determined by the sellers and Mr. DeHulu that that just would not be a good fit for the neighborhood. That even though the zoning was 15,000 square feet and you could fit a lane, it was decided a court would fit much better. There'd be 2 houses. One is on a proposed lot of 28,000 square feet, which is nearly double the zoning, and the other one is 21,000 square feet. You know, like all builders, you know, Steve wants to make a profit on this.
Shocked.
What we're proposing as part of the waivers, and, you know, I understand you may have problems with other courts in the past. We're gonna be very upfront. We want this to stay.
Appreciate that,
Yes,
Mitch.
we want this to stay as a private way. We're gonna put restrictions, you know, with the board's
Can you
permission.
repeat that for me?
We want this to remain as a private way.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
We propose to put, with the board's approval, we propose to put deed restrictions in both deeds that it's a private way. Again, subject to your approval, I plan to prepare a maintenance agreement that we're gonna file in the registry of deeds stating that.
In perpetuity?
Yes, in perpetuity. So there'll be no question that the new owners understand that it's a private way in perpetuity.
that they're buying a house and they're gonna own that roadway.
Right.
And they're gonna maintain that roadway.
Correct.
And the town is never going to maintain it
Never.
for them.
And you can, you know,
That's in the deeds.
Yep, that'll be in the deeds.
Right in the
That'll be in the
deeds.
Yep.
deeds.
and I realize you've had some problems with that in the past, so we want to get that on the table up front.
Appreciate that.
Any sign, you know, any sign we put up, if it, you know, Jefferson Court, private way. So the public will know, the highway department will know, you know, it's their responsibility. That being
Glad we're clear
said,
on that.
that being said, you know, we're talking with Howard from a planning point of view, and a land use point of view, it makes more sense, and Bill will get into the waivers and the reasoning, to construct this more as a driveway, which is why we're asking for a narrowing of the pavement. In support of that, can you point out where we're giving them the abutter, the 10 feet? The abutter at 82 North Street, maybe you can, I think did he approach you, Steve, or?
Yes, he has. And he just was asking what I was up to, and I let him know that I was putting this court in, and I knew there was a lot of area there that wouldn't be useful to me. So I offered it to him, just because he's kind of tight with his lot over there now, I know that. So I offered him the 10 feet, and then also Lilibeth is here. I mean, I'm trying to help her out also, if, I don't know if you want to jump to that
Well, why don't we,
yet.
well, I just wanted, then I was gonna have Bill actually explain the waivers, but I just wanted to point out the 10 feet. So why don't we hear from the engineer? I think he can get
Yeah,
into,
what number of the lot are you helping?
it's 82, Tilly, it's the one,
You're on
Mr.
you're on an
Shuttleworth?
existing plan, you need to get to the proposed.
That's 11, map 11B, lot 34, I think.
Now, I have a question before you get along too far. The house that's already constructed, is this a brand-new lot?
yeah, well, it's the existing lot.
It is existing lot.
There's an
You
existing
didn't
lot.
change that lot?
No, the lot is the same. So he was able to get a building permit for that lot because it conformed to zoning.
All right. Well, you have a proposed alternate driveway there to go off the court on that lot.
Well, yeah, I mean, Bill, he can explain,
How's that possible?
Because that new house is gonna gain its frontage from the Jefferson Court, right?
No.
Well, it's gonna have a driveway and its access is along the frontage.
We have access to the frontage. Actually, the driveway's been built. This is an existing driveway now. It has been constructed off North Street.
Right, but if you change the access to the court, well, then it's a lane, number one, but number two, it's,
Yeah, so
I think you,
then the frontage comes off of the proposed Jefferson Court.
I think you just put that for informational, didn't you? I mean, that's not,
I had actually talked also to Steve about just presenting it for the board, just for consideration about if it's a court or a lane, how would the board feel? Because there was some concern on the planning office that you would have a court and just a few feet away, you would have another driveway. And for the simplicity of traffic flow, how would the board feel if that driveway then went out onto Jefferson Court, which would be renamed, and you would remove a curb cut on the street? So instead of having two so
On North
close to
Street,
each
you
other.
remove the curb cut North Street.
And so that's,
Oh, interestingly enough, where is the existing driveway for lot 34, Mr. Shuttleworth there? Is it Mr. Shuttleworth?
You can see it on 4 of 6, I think.
Oh, I'm on 2 of 6, my apologies.
You can see it on 2 also, it's right here.
And
Oh, it's grayed out, it's very close, very, very close.
78, and you see driveway for 76 was right here. And it's in the same spot as before.
actual pavement road's pretty far away, isn't it? From,
It's actually in the same location.
Why don't we go through the waiver requests, just to, let's clarify that first. And I'm gonna go to the first page, if that's all right, because they're listed on the first page.
The first two waivers, the first waiver is just a title block layout. And that's just to use the layout that we have for our title block. All the information is the same that we require. It's all located on the right-hand side in the title block that we show. So, it's just it's our format that we use, so I'm just asking that we allow us to use the same format that we prepare in our office.
Which one are you referring to? The
Title block.
street name in pencil?
Nope, title block, just the way, you have a specific title block you have
Yeah.
on your regulations, and
Right.
it has the same information, but ours is all on the right-hand side.
Oh, I
When
see.
you fold it up, it's basically.
All right, that's incidental.
And then the same
Right,
thing
that-
with the street name in pencil, it's on your regulations, it should be in pencil. Obviously, we plot these in ink, and
Okay.
Mylar will be in ink, so, I mean, if the name, we'll definitely clarify the name with the fire department and the police department. If it needs to change, then we'll change it before we do the final prints.
Uh-huh.
Is there anything else in town named Jefferson?
I'm familiar
That's a
with.
new one to
I don't
me.
think so.
I'm familiar with.
I know it has to be
Call the
approved by the
fire
fire
department,
department and the police department, so if they have an
Yeah, we
issue, they'll
called them.
definitely tell us, and then we'll change it.
We did call the
I'm
fire
only asking
department.
that question because I know we've got some streets and some drives that have the same name. It's terribly
Right.
confusing.
Yeah, Spofford Road and Spofford Street intersection.
Nelson and Nelson, Spofford.
Yeah,
Spofford,
it's lovely.
yeah.
It's lovely.
I was reviewing the state, and the board is supposed to name these areas. We're not supposed to go along with whatever the applicant says for a name of the street.
Can we name it Tilly Evangelista Boulevard?
Will that help?
No, no, but you know, I often wondered that, and I came across it finally, and it said that the boards
What
do
did they
that.
stutter back then?
No,
Road.
this is the
Okay, I'm
81.
sorry. I'm sorry,
It's
Mr.
General
Chairman.
Law.
So they can change it, I guess.
But-
It was
but-
easy to change the Mylars if it was in pencil, you could erase it.
Okay.
But if it was gonna be changed.
Right,
off.
right.
It's just an
Now we
information.
do it in ink, we just put them, so it's not,
It's an archaic regulation.
Yeah, it
It
really
really should be
is.
changed. That's on
Alright.
the list
I
to
mean, it's
change.
pretty simple to change.
May I
Mylar.
ask where Jefferson, the name Jefferson Court came from?
I did some work over in Newburyport on the Jefferson Court, and I just thought of the name when I was working over there. I said, oh, you said, rang a bell, it was
Just wanted
nice,
it.
nice road.
And I guess you did call the fire department and ask them.
Yes,
if
I
there
called
was
the
an
fire
issue.
department, and
Confirmed
they
it.
said there wasn't any Jefferson Courts or Jefferson Streets.
I would have thought
Georgetown.
that the original owners for that place would have wanted their name on it. Because
I voted for that too.
that's right, that's right. I mean, you guys live there and your family, that's
a
that's
cousin.
the old homestead.
Anyway, it was not my house, it was at my cousin's house, I lived down the street a little further, but anyway. And the third waiver is just the benchmark bound disc, and actually we do have, we have a benchmark across the street on a hydrant, which is tied to the benchmark that's at Pearlie High School, which is a USPS.
Can I see what that is? What page you on there?
This is page 2, it's
Page two?
actually on page 2, it's on page 3, it's on page 4.
It's a temporary benchmark?
It's, yeah, it's a spindle nut on the, the fire, a bonnet nut on a fire hydrant, which we brought
That's
down.
temporary benchmark. What about a real benchmark?
Well, we don't have any on site now, but we can put one on the, one of the bounds, we can set the bounds. You know, with the granite bounds, when they're set, we can actually transfer it from there to one of the bounds when it's set. And show that on the as-built. It's not a problem to do that. Just not showing it on, there's no bounds here to put it on, there's no granite bounds to put it on the site. So at this point, this is all pipes, iron pipes, and we have some temporary ones on the site that we transferred in, we did a survey.
I'm a
So-
stickler for that kind of thing.
I mean, we can definitely.
If this does get an approval,
We can definitely eliminate that waiver and just add it and on the as-built plan when the bounds are set. Until we put
what
a
would
bound in,
most
it's not
likely happen
permanent.
is if this board chose to not grant that waiver, you'd be responsible to put all the bounds, street bounds
Right.
and property bounds. Moving right along to the cul-de-sac.
Yeah, Cul-de-sac, the diameter, we're actually using the Y turnaround, which is allowed per section 365-39 under the courts. We've got a layout showing the Y turnaround for fire protection, able to have the emergency vehicles turn around without backing up more than once, which will be reviewed by the fire department.
Yeah, can we get something from the fire department about that?
We will.
Okay. I'll be honest with you, I like the idea of a circle. I like the cul-de-sac.
I think in this
I
case,
never liked
we asked
where
for,
the
because
hammerhead was allowed, the way that it was written, where the discretion of the board was taken away by the way that the regulation was written. And
think,
that was
yeah.
one of the driving factors towards making this a special permit, so that
I think when you
two
look at
members
this,
decided to,
for 2 lots,
Over that.
it does make sense to make it a hammerhead, because it basically looks like a driveway.
doesn't make sense to make it, yeah.
It does, with
It
the
does.
only 2 lots, you got the one going this way and one going that way, it's kinda, it lends itself to looking like a driveway as opposed to a roadway, which is kinda what we're going for, and trying to keep it into a more rural looking, rural look with less impact by doing this type of design versus having it be a circle, which which is, you know, a lot of pavement in a circle and ends up with a lot more drainage issues with the circle. So that's kind of why we did it the way we did it. It just makes it look, I think, a little less like a roadway and a little more like a common driveway. Which is kind of what the next waiver leads to, which is the 18 feet of pavement for courts. We'd like to waive it down to 12 feet, keeping in mind that it is going to be a private way. It's only servicing 2 houses, so it's basically going to be a driveway to these 2 houses. It definitely will limit how much pavement we put in, which will decrease the amount of runoff, which is a good factor, you know, good result for abutting properties as well. But there's no maintenance to the town, so the 12 feet is really all that's needed for access to the two houses. We do maintain the front radiuses, the front pavement radiuses of 20 feet, so that just be able to turn into the driveway. And then the pavement thickness, they require 4 inches, we're asking for 3 inches. Just against the driveway, we're treating it as a driveway. And then the property line radius of 30 feet at the beginning. We don't.
You're talking about for your layout?
The layout.
Your road layout?
Yes.
You don't have the appropriate radius
On
one side,
on
right?
one side, yeah. We have 30 feet here, we're right along the property line here. And we do maintain the pavement radius though, 20 feet, which is required for.
Yeah, but you're using the street layout.
Yeah,
You're using the public street layout to create it.
the sidewalk.
You're not
Pavement
staying-
radius. The pavement radius is what's actually built for pavement. We maintain that without having the turn.
You're not doing it on your property.
Well, we wouldn't anyway.
You don't have the layout for
Whether
it.
whether this was a radius or not, we wouldn't need it because this is where the pavement will be built.
Right, but you don't have it in the layout of the roadway. So you need a waiver for that.
Right.
Why wouldn't you move the layout that way, slightly north, and then you could get those 2 radii?
We could. We wanted to center it more in on the middle of the lot and bring it a little further away from this house.
And I also understand that if you move that layout with that radius up North Street, you're removing that 10-foot buffer, right, from the adjoining neighbor, or?
We could probably still maintain the 10-foot buffer, because we can move that. This radius can, well, actually, we wouldn't, yeah, you're right, because we'd have to truncate that. This radius is only about 15 feet from the, we don't have, it's only 90 feet, so we don't have enough room to put, we just have enough room to put the 30-foot radius, 30-foot radius.
And a 30-foot roadway, so you have exactly enough, you have 6 feet extra.
We have 1 foot extra, actually.
96 feet, I'm
It's
sorry.
91,
Oh, my
91.8.
apologies.
And I also recall that you
Then we would take
do
the
that
10 feet.
30-foot radius on the south side because you would start taking away from frontage from that existing lot.
We wouldn't have
No,
to
it's
from that, no, that
91
would be
feet.
fine.
91 feet, you'd have 30, 30, and 30.
We would be okay there, but we would need to push it up. And we would just,
No,
What was
he's
that,
talking
96?
about the one up on North Street, close to North Street.
Well, at any rate, but we're not deciding on any of these waivers tonight anyway.
Those are the 3 waivers. that, you know,
Basically,
we're asking for.
what'll happen is this will go to Larry Graham. We'll forward this to Larry Graham. Larry will naturally address all of these. He may find 1 or 2 more things that haven't been addressed. Sometimes that happens, that you might need a waiver for. And
Yeah, then the board needs to request the applicant to provide the,
I'd never do that before establishing the M account, though.
right.
When that,
I'd never do that before establishing an M account, though.
when you
It's
add
just
the
to be
10
right
feet
Oh,
to
what were you gonna
Mr.
say? Were you
Shuttleworth's
making a
house,
motion? I'm
Has
sorry,
an M
Chris?
account been established?
when you add the
And-
10 feet to his lot, what are the dimensions on that lot going to be?
On his lot? Let's see. Don't have the dimensions on there, so.
By giving the 10 feet over to the adjoining property, do you alleviate any nonconformities that he has? or-
We do actually would help him on a setback to his barn, which is right here. The setback now is about 5 feet. We add the 10 feet, we'll give him the required setback.
So it won't
But
be,
as far as the
if-
frontage goes, it's not gonna add, not frontage, it's
so
conforming.
it still will be non-conforming
Mm-hmm.
lot?
Yes.
The barn you're talking about, or the shed that you're talking about, is that currently not conforming to zoning?
Yeah. Well, it's pre-existing. Been there for, it's a horse barn, so.
With respect to the M account, does somebody want to make a motion? Motion to establish an M account Is that a 2,000 or a 4,000?
We request a 4,000 initial deposit and then maintenance of an average of a 2,000 be maintained afterwards.
Is there a second for that?
Second.
Seconded by Tim. Not too much discussion to have on that. We need an M account. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Mr. Chairman,
Have a checkbook?
Or tomorrow?
I would move that upon receipt and establishment, receipt of the check and establishment of the account, that the plans be forwarded to our
Review engineer.
technical review agent, engineer, Larry Graham, for his comments.
Okay, as soon as the M account is established? It's established, right?
Yeah, we get it right out.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Bob. Any discussion on that? M account gets established and the plans go to Larry. Any discussion? Any
You
discussion?
clear on the account, Steve? The purpose of it and everything else? The
For-
escrow account?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Attorney Cronin.
So it goes towards the
Yeah.
planning board,
Mitchell will explain it.
whoever you gotta hire, and
Right, and then it lasts and then goes through for
Yeah.
site inspection, and everything else, and then whatever's remaining when it closes is given back to you.
okay.
And you even get interest.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. So we'll get that
Call your
sent to you.
investment broker on the interest, just to raise that.
Bill, could you explain something to me? I think I'm a little confused. Yeah, I know, always confused. I thought I saw something here that I really couldn't discern. Maybe you can help me with it. Probably on 4. Probably on 4. No guarantee. Is that 4? Yeah, sheet 4. This is all lot 33A according to the assessors map, right?
It's lot 33. altogether.
33?
Yes.
Okay. So the one at the north side of the plan is 33A?
Yeah.
And the one at the southern side of it is 33?
Correct.
That's how, okay.
And
And,
all the parcels.
So they've already divided the land?
well, no,
No,
that's
no,
proposed,
I'm-
it's proposed.
I'm giving them numbers and letters, test from you, hopefully.
Sure.
Right,
If it's approved, they can use those numbers for the assessment purposes. So we get 33 and 33A.
On the face page, 33 is down the bottom, okay. And I could have sworn there was a page here where it was reversed. That might be a little crazy. That's probably crazy.
Maybe?
Maybe. Yeah, I must have made a mistake.
No.
Yeah, happens all the time. Happens all the time.
He thought he
Could you
made a
explain
mistake, but he
something
was
to me?
wrong.
I thought he was incorrect, but he was wrong.
Right.
On the face page, on the very front, I see a map.
That happened to me once. I thought it was happening to me, but it wasn't.
25 and 25A. Oh, no, excuse me. Lot 31, lot 30 dash, map 11B, lot 30 dash 31, and another map, lot 30 dash 31. Explain that to me. What is that?
And then one's typo.
Okay, that was, okay. That's where it was. Okay. Which one's incorrect? Do you know?
I believe this one here is incorrect. This one is the correct one. There's actually a duplex there.
Okay, so that one's wrong. Okay, so
So one.
probably something to fix there. Okay, good. Okay,
I have a question, Mr. Chairman.
go for it, Tilly.
I looked at lot 32A, and you have the septic drainage close
Wicked
to,
close. The wetland, the
close
created
to
wetland.
a creative drainage setup. Did the Board of Health okay that?
They haven't seen this plan. I don't know if they've seen
They
the plan
haven't
yet.
seen it?
This
Shallow,
is the
very
basin,
shallow.
These are the
Detention
existing
basin.
septics, softly close there.
And
What number
Doesn't
is that?
intercept any groundwater.
Look on 4 or 5.
25-foot setback.
Start seeing where the water is.
How far away is it?
25-foot setback requirement.
25% back?
25-foot setback from
25
the edge
foot.
of this basin to the edge of the system.
Setback.
How far is it?
Geez, it looks like it's 20 feet.
It's 25, I believe.
Right? 1 inch is 20, right?
I thought it was close, but
Jeez, it looks like an inch. It looks less than an inch.
Yeah, I don't have a scale with me. I can scale
Actually,
it.
I was a little bit very concerned with, someone called Dunton here and Di Giovanni, because, there's gonna be a detention basin well within the setback to the lot line that seems to be proposed here. To the Di Giovanni, 27
Yep,
Pine
right here.
Street parcel? Yeah, really close wetland there, created wetland there.
Not a wetland, it's a detention area, it's actually very shallow,
Right, it's a detention area that
very
one day
small,
will-
shallow detention area
in
that
3 years, it's a wetland.
will only have water in a 100-year storm,
Mm-hmm.
based on the calculations.
But these are all things that Larry can look at, and there's someone named Brooks that's gonna be dealing with the same thing on the northern side. Someone, now formerly Brooks, it would appear to be Ken Boardman, that's right in their backyard. One of the things I don't see is where the Di Giovanni and the Brooks existing septic systems are, because we're off the plan here. And I'd just be concerned that those two proposed detention areas are in close proximity to their septic systems, because you're gonna be raising up a little bit of groundwater there, you're gonna mount it.
We have actually very good soils out there. We had obviously several test pits that we did throughout the site. We actually perked for potentially 3 lots. We originally perked 3, and before we decided to use only 2. So we have extra perks out here, and the soils throughout the whole site is sand and gravel, with 6-7 foot water tables, less than 2-minute perk rates. There's going to be very little mounding occurring as a result of any of the development of the property. So, I mean, it's a good soil. It's not gonna back up.
Any of the test pit information on your plans? Or-
I do
I
not.
see references to the test pits, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
I
6,
do not, but I
7,
can-
8, 9, just off the top of my,
I can get you copies
wow,
of them.
wow, 11, 12, 15, wow.
Well, what
Good
I
number
was,
of them, you did do a lot of test pits. I said,
We have to 2 for each septic.
good
so-
advice.
what I was concerned with is the size of these buildings. I know, the one that's already built, the neighbors are not happy with that.
Really?
So out of character. And the second thing is that those 2 in the back are backyards of the people on Pond Street. I would think they would be concerned as well if they saw this. Those are big, big houses, 4 bedrooms.
Real
It's in-
small bedrooms. It really isn't as big. It's just,
square
you
houses?
know what it is? It's that drive, the garage that makes it look so big. It really is. It's a 24 drive-in. I mean, typically, for many years now, this is the first flat lot I built on in 15, 20 years. You know, usually I have drive-unders these
Right.
days.
Yeah.
So that's why it appears so big. It really does, just because of that garage. You
Well,
know,
it's
that-
the same size, looking on the map, on your plan rather, as the
Right,
one you
those
already
are
built.
also like attached garages that make it look as big as it does, and it's just what, New England, of course, we need garages. And then the box size is 2840, which is, typical for me anyways, and these days, people really don't build houses smaller than that. I don't see them anyways, anymore. It's just,
2840?
yeah, that main box, and then has 16 by 24, like a family room. And then the 24 is why it looks so long, in my opinion.
But the homes on Pond Street are much smaller than that.
Yeah, the couple of
And they're older,
duplexes are probably as
And
big.
and it just doesn't fit into the character as far as
I
I'm concerned.
think what you're seeing there, Tilly, is you're used to seeing lots that, where the boundaries of lots and the houses are a lot further away from the setbacks. And, well, I'm sorry Bill pulled that down, but I mean, it looks as though, the ways the houses are, the way those 2 proposed houses are, they're just skirting the building envelope setback on the 2 sides. They're just fitting in that setback area. So that's, I'm used to seeing a little more area to the left and the right of the house when you're looking at it.
Well, I mean,
But this is the zoning.
Well, the older
This is the
days
zoning
too,
in
like
this
you
area.
said,
right, and
And watch out for your zoning, kids.
the swell
That's
though,
what you
in
get.
the front of those,
But
you got
you
a
have it.
swell design in the front of those 2.
Right here. it is.
Yeah, what's the dimensions in that swale? That's gonna be off of the retention?
This right here,
Yeah.
it's, honestly, it's about a half foot deep, and it's,
6 inches deep.
Why would you need a swale if this land is so good?
it's just to direct the water. between the houses, get away from the houses. We
Water
don't want,
that
we don't
comes
want
off
Just
the
down to
water,
the
roof.
basin.
we don't want water sitting
I
in
don't
the
think,
lots. We want it to
well,
go
I'm not
towards-
an engineer, but I wouldn't think it's gonna be sitting anywhere on the lot myself,
This is
you
just a
know?
grass swale, they're gonna be able to mow it, it's not like a ditch, it's a little,
It may be 6 inches
yeah.
deep, but it's
Wide.
24 feet wide.
Yeah,
What's the
close
width
to a
of it?
peak, but you want to flow that way.
That I didn't
So it's
care
just
for
a
that
directional
either.
point.
All of these
Right,
little
it sounds,
ponds,
that's what it sounds like.
all these ponds are about a foot and a half deep. They're not deep at all, and they're 4-to-1 slope, so you can mow them. They're gonna be just grass swales, that's what they are. They're not what you think of as detention ponds. This is like low impact design. We could actually put plantings in there if we wanted to. We could put like a rain garden type plantings in there. I didn't propose it that way, but we could certainly put plantings in there.
That
Right
might
now,
go
they're
a
showing
long way
it's
to
grass.
me agreeing to somebody a waiver request.
Yeah, that's, what
that's-
were you planning on
We were just
benefiting the town for these waivers?
Well, it's more, less impact on the drainage in the whole area. That's what we were, proposing, the width of the driveway 4 and the turnaround. There's more, obviously, more pavement we have, the more drainage we'll have to do. Right now, we have no structural drainage design. It's all low-impact design, very passive. It's not gonna have any real maintenance other than mowing the grass around it. And, if we do end up doing plantings and some black mulch in the bottom of it, they'd have to replace the black mulch occasionally and get the sediment out. We do have, infiltration trenches along the pavement itself to actually handle the extra water that comes off the pavement. And that's gonna be infiltrated back into the ground. They're 2-foot by 2-foot stone trenches, almost entire length of the roadway. It's a 190-foot length roadway to the turnaround.
But that's all premised on the basis that you get the reduction of the 18 what?
Well, no, whether we get the reduction or not, we're gonna have the swales.
Oh, you're still
And
gonna
they're
be able to
have
fit the swales even if you
and-
don't get
and
the
we're gonna
reduction.
have the infiltration.
Interesting.
We gotta maintain the water, so we're gonna have to,
Mm-hmm.
it may be a half foot deeper, because we need to be a little bit bigger because we have more pavement. But we're gonna have those regardless whether we get the waiver or not. We have to treat less water now because there's less water coming off the pavement.
Is there a drain on North Street in front of that opening?
There is not, there is one down this way, and there's one up here. Right now, I did the calculations, there's a peak right here, there's a high spot in the road, or in the lot right now.
Yeah.
And the house, and the driveway that's there, all flows towards North Street. The house is now down, actually, we're taking the house down. When this gets reseeded, it'll be grass, vegetated. So it'll be less runoff going towards the front, even though, also keeping the 12-foot driveway, it's the same driveway that's there now. We're not gonna increase the size of the driveway, it's actually the same location, that's why I kept it here. We wanted to keep the driveway open in the same location, so nothing changes, basically, you won't see any changes from North Street. Other than the house gone and the driveway going to the back, it's essentially the same location, same width.
I mean, I know you're not
That's why
gonna,
we designed it that way.
I know you're not voting on anything tonight, obviously, but I guess what we're interested in, and it may help Larry Graham in his review, I guess we strongly feel that the 12-foot wide driveway makes sense from a planning point of view. It creates less impervious surface. We think it'll help with the drainage. In answer to your question, Tilly, we're trying to help the abutter, I guess, Mr. Kuzniar. I guess he's, I guess if he's the town, we're trying to, help him out. He has a very small lot, obviously. So by giving him that 10 feet, that obviously affects how much room we have, for the pavement and everything. So I guess we're just looking for some feedback from the board. I mean, to me, in a perfect world, if we had the right frontage, we would do a common driveway. I think from a planning point of view, where I'm sitting, that seems to fits the best. I realize we're working within the context of the court, we're working in the context of subdivision control, and we're working in the context of special permit. But at the end of the day, I think the closer we get it to look like a driveway, the better. And in terms of a maintenance agreement, from the legal perspective, I'd much rather just draw it between the two lots. In other words, let 76 North Street have their own current driveway onto North Street to keep them separate. Mr. Rich might agree with me, with two, it always works out better. If you add that third person, then sometimes things aren't as easy. So we think it's a much cleaner fit to do it that way. And again, remember, 78 was a two-family, so theoretically, there were two families. We're not increasing, I know we may be increasing number of people and whatnot, but in terms of ultimate residences, there was two there, and we're going to turn it into two.
I look at it like you circumvented the requirement of affordable housing by building that house on North Street. And with your proposed driveway, I'm not going for it. You guys had,
Could you clarify how it's circumvented?
because he has, instead of including that into this project
It's a separate lot.
as
though.
a court, I understand that, but he could have included that as a court, and obviously with a driveway there, he is.
I think what Tilly's trying to say is the last proposal that came before us included that other lot.
Right.
I think that's what she's
And
saying.
it's
And it would
circumvented.
have had an
to-
affordable housing component to it.
Yeah, and there was an affordable housing component to it. We're not that stupid, over here in the planning board.
No, but that's not, no, I don't think, I think we're just, no, in fairness to, I
So
think,
therefore, let me finish, that's how I'm looking at it, and I'm also looking at it that the character of that house is not even close to being historical looking, and to keep it in character, and
know about that,
as far
you
as the town is concerned,
Yeah.
we have all these master plans that keep stressing the character.
Sure.
Now you tore down an old house. Did you even communicate with the historical commission?
the house was burned. That house was
I
burned.
understand that, but isn't it amazing? How did it burn?
I don't know, it was not
An
my.
old house that's vacant, burned.
No,
How
it
about
was,
that?
Fire was.
Save them those demo for
Actually, it's a colonial-looking house, which has been around for a long time, colonial and.
Anyway, that's how I feel about
I mean,
it,
it's
and
a-
I would like those houses to be two-bedroom. I just don't.
well, that's it, I mean,
couldn't sell them, you know?
any other comment you have,
You know.
Tilly? Or-
Is there
because-
a water resource requirement
because-
that's to this development?
Howard, could you answer that for us, or the engineer? Is there a water resource? This isn't
I
in the
don't
water
recall off the
resource
top of my
district or
head.
in the,
But
hopefully-
if it is in a water resource district, it will be determined, I can honestly, the water resource has to do more with storage of materials and things like that,
Right.
not with the residential use, so.
I understand.
residential gets the
I
exemption,
understand it's exempt, but at the same point, it's a limit of an acre, if I remember rightly, the number is 440 gallons of water a day in an acre. And you have what, maybe 2 acres there?
yeah, but I don't think it applies to single family, I don't think it's gonna
No,
apply.
it doesn't, but it's still
actually
the amount of
different
water that
dimensions.
goes into the water resource area.
No, I understand what you're saying. In that argument, we tried, going back 2 years.
Yeah.
That's what the prior applicant, we were trying to make it more
Right.
colonial-like. But,
Yeah.
the neighbors, they were aware that this was going to be, if you sell it to a builder, he's gonna build, he's gonna build a 4-bedroom house, basically.
Did you give me a great segue there?
Yes.
If the board has finished asking their questions, this is a public hearing, and I'd like to open it up for comments to the public, because, well, Mitch, you gave me the.
It's public.
You gave me a good opening there. If there's any members of the public, please raise your hand. State your name for the record, please, and maybe your address.
Mitch, could you take your file off the microphone?
Oh, I'm
Everyone's
sorry.
signing
That's
in,
okay.
papers in the back. There's sign-in sheets back there, if you could make sure that you're signed in, so that I have the correct name and spelling.
And please come up so you can be picked up on the audio.
Absolutely. Come right up and sit next to.
Did you bring any water for me?
Lilibeth Weiss, 84 North Street.
Hi, Lilibeth.
Lilibeth Weiss, 84 North
How do you
Street.
spell your last name?
Hi, Lilibeth.
Hi, how are you?
Not too bad. Good to see you.
Yeah, isn't the same here? I have a question. Can you point out where the septic systems are gonna be?
They're right here and right here.
Okay, so, my thought was, or question is, if you take the houses, can I walk over there? Because I'm not very good at explaining what I'm trying to say, but if you take these houses and spin them, so they're here, the garage will be closer to your Y, you put the septic systems up here so they won't be so close to Giovanni and me, and people could plant trees at the back here. You've made it so there's really no place. This is kind of dead area, the way you've done it. If you spin this, it's closer to its driveway. They have a nice backyard. You can put your septic system up here, although I don't know what the setback for a septic system is. That might be a problem, but you give people a backyard, you give all the abutters much more chance for privacy to be developed. Some shade trees put back, a bunch of, sugar maples have come down with this project, which are, talk about character of our town. The big old sugar maples are kind of important.
Yeah, I was trying to keep all the sugar
Yeah,
maples.
There's a lot of
I
nice
know.
trees
There
here.
But
goes
if
the
you-
maple
but
syrup
with the
sapling.
septic
The
systems in
sapling.
the back,
Capping.
you're preventing trees from being planted there. If you spin your houses are closer to your road, you get more, distance from the abutters. If it's spun a little bit, then
kinda
you
like
get a
a-
better backyard.
Yeah, it almost looks, to me, I mean, I'd rather see it when you drive in, you see the front of your house. I mean, it'd be like houses sideways, which I've built before and I hate them, So now when you drive into your house, you're gonna be looking at your driveway
Well,
instead of looking at the front of your house. And
I understand what you're saying, but if I look out the front of my house, I don't wanna see a driveway. I wanna see, so from the road, from the front of your house, looking out the front window, you'd be seeing lawn, you'd be seeing maybe your neighbor. The driveway
Sure.
goes to the garage. I mean, I think I'd much rather live in the house. It's not by the road anyway, so, you're surrounded by neighbors, and I'd rather be a little further from my neighbors and have a backyard I could plant a couple trees in. Just
I don't think
thought.
they'll have much of a backyard if you spin it.
No, 'cause you can go forward.
These calculations you have are very sensitive, everything there. I mean, Bill would be able to tell you that, but if you look at all these dotted
Take
lines,
this house and spin it here.
what are they? They're different
Right.
sides in front, but see all these little
Then don't you
areas
have
off of
enough
that?
room here for your septic?
Right, those are setbacks too, those dotted
You don't?
lines.
No, because we have to have a 20-foot setback.
I mean, I've tried to
building
spin
and
these houses
setback.
they
before,
wouldn't
want
you know.
When we have some drainage issues, we have to deal with basins, we have to stay away from those.
Could you have a could you have a common
Move the
septic?
basins.
We might be able
Could
to
you
do
have
that.
a common
but-
septic for the
The other
two
issue is-
houses, or is that against?
I mean, if you-
I'm sorry, so many people are talking, I can't, my ears are going like
That's a
crazy
norm,
here.
but I'm not sure.
What did you say, Tilly? I'm sorry?
She's asking
I mean, I
if you
could
can
get-
have a common septic.
For the
No.
two houses, no.
No.
But I can get bushes in between your lot and this lot easy enough, or fence.
Well, no, I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying, like, if the backyard didn't have to have that big septic system, it
And
gives
it's-
the residents much more options.
And
as
one
to what
is a
to do.
reserve, you probably know that.
In their
You know,
backyard.
one of them's a reserve, so if
But you
someone
can see the size
fails.
of these?
So these
This
are only
size
half
is
the
minimum
size.
size that we can put here for these houses. And so we'd have to have this size up here in front of the house. The house would have to be back so far that it would be on the property line. And then we'd be right against the property line, and there would be no backyard. You can't,
One's
you
a
couldn't turn
reserve
these,
too,
you
you know.
couldn't turn these houses. If you were to. Could, but I think it would be, if we turn this in here, there's no backyard here, there's 15 feet. That's nothing.
You'd really have them on top of you,
That's
really,
not
I
a
think,
backyard,
even
that's,
more, you
that's
know?
strip of land that, you
Well,
pretty
but
much.
but the yard
This
in
is,
the
this is
back.
100 feet, this is, much more backyard.
Or a
than-
side.
Sorry, what were you saying, Lilibeth?
But yeah, but what I'm trying to
Lilibeth?
say is if.
Lilibeth, through me?
What I'm trying to say is backyard, front yard, it's terminology, but the place
Sure.
where they have the
Side.
most unbuilt space is what I'm calling the backyard, the back of the lot. If that could not be septic system, it would create a much nicer space. They could make a living space. I mean, you don't wanna be having your living space, your garden, anything. Where are they gonna garden? That was my thought, just to create more of a usable, lot area.
Well, as one member of the board, if they don't move them, should I vote no? Because it's a special permit.
If I may, Mr. Chairman,
Well, I'm waiting for an answer, I'm sorry.
well, I want to interrupt your answer, because I.
Oh,
wanna
you
make
want to
sure-
interrupt that? Okay. Then, by all means.
Do you understand?
Feel free to
what's-
interrupt.
What's drawn there is when you draw a septic system, my experience on the Board of Health, they're actually showing two, because they not only show what's going to be the septic system, but they have to show 100% expansion. That there's enough area, undisturbed area reserved, so that 100% of that existing septic, the one to be built, there will be enough land, if you had to replace it, you could take it, lift it, and put it somewhere else. So there's nothing, and correct me if I'm wrong, gentlemen, the 2 blocks you see on each lot, think of 1 block. The other one is just
Held in reserve.
open reserve.
The primary ones are the ones nearest the center.
You familiar with my house, Lola Beth? I live in a little house up next to the country club. The front yard of my house is septic. The entire side yard is the reserve. It's grass. There's nothing there. I have a garden on it. You can do anything you want on it but build. You can grow things, you know, you can garden on it.
Shallow things, not trees.
Yeah, you can't plant trees. That's what I'm trying to say is,
You can in non-reserve it, just, you can't, in the used, in the
Primary.
primary, you can't, but on the,
On the reserve you can.
yeah, on the reserve, you can do anything
You'd have
you
to
want.
take the trees out if you had
if
to.
you had to change your septic.
Yeah, but a material like that, that's not likely.
Well, about my, getting the impression you're looking for buffer,
No, not
visual
so,
buffer, you're looking for,
not so much from my perspective. I'm just thinking if I was gonna move in there,
oh,
I would rather
Oh.
have that space to use as I wanted and have my septic. Because to me, the area by the road, the drive, whatever you're gonna call it, court, is kinda dead space. I mean, it's all chopped up, it's funny, you're not gonna do anything out there. I'd rather have my septic out there and have the whole back area to use as I run it.
Well, for yourself, yeah, but I could see a swimming pool back there.
There's
Well,
room for
somebody
a
could
pool,
put a
you
swimming
know.
pool if they wanted a
There
swimming
is
pool.
room right
Subterranean
now.
system.
You know, or they could plant
They're not
trees,
raised
but if there's a
systems, are they?
septic system there, there's not a heck of a lot they
Not
can do there.
raised per se, but there's a little bit of grading all along.
Presby-like systems?
They're regular stone beds, and they're in the ground. There's just 1 foot of grade, 1 foot of grading over the top of them.
The only other concern that I have, Mr. Chairman, is that I think that the curve on the frontage on North Street, I think it should be the same on both sides.
yeah, that's the waiver request. We
Yeah.
haven't decided to grant that or not.
Yeah,
I'd like to
I'm
see
not,
what Larry has.
not
Yeah,
too
let's see what
keen
Larry
on
says
that.
about that, because, and before we deal with any of the other waivers and formally deal with them in both.
And I
of them,
wanna be sure
best
the
to hear what
site
Larry says.
distance is 200 feet when you get out there.
Yep, and have to have Larry
Did you
check
check
that all.
that?
Yeah, there's plenty of site distance. I think it's like 40-mile-an-hour speed limit, so.
And basically, I'm looking for guarantees that the environment impact is not gonna be severe. That's what I wanna see.
Well, I have a suggestion.
I have another, there's another member of the audience. Would you state your name, please? Did you sign in?
Yes, I
Andrea?
do.
Thank you. Please state your name for the record.
Andrea Di Giovanni, 27 Bond Street.
Oh, the one you're talking about, Pond Street. This is Miss.
Oh,
Giovanni.
what a coincidence.
Yep, so we are abetting the property, and I actually agree with, Ms. Evangelista. You were saying how how the homes do not really fit the character. They are too large, to look at, and, and also with the, with all this pavement plan, there will not be, basically the environment will be drastically changed because we've had all this permeable surface, all these trees, taking care of the water and helping properties that experience flooding and alleviating some of the brown water issues in Georgetown. This will drastically change. And so anything that can be done, some of the suggestions that I have is, making the home smaller, or perhaps using porous asphalt instead of,
Ooh, porous pavement.
yes,
That's a
just like
phenomenal
just like
idea.
they're doing at Pembroke.
Wow,
This
that's
is-
a really good idea.
This is done commonly in.
Then we
New
wouldn't
Georgia.
have to reduce it from 12 to 12 feet. We could keep it wide, very safe, easy for
Yeah.
everybody to pass, easy for emergency
Yeah,
vehicles
I have
to
one of
pass.
those, those are terrible, but,
You don't like
stone,
them?
oh, well, you guys have stone driveways?
Stone?
No.
No,
Is that
no,
what you
but
said?
porous pavement.
Porous.
You could do porous
I think
pavement.
Porous
some
pavement.
people call it popcorn pavement.
Oh, okay.
It's
Porous
different.
pavement.
You haven't used
detail
that?
for it.
No, no, I've heard it's very expensive, isn't it?
Very, very good.
I haven't heard that.
Very good. You've driven
As
over it
many
on
variances
one
as there were
twenty-eight.
before good, those before expensive.
You've driven over it on one
Have you
twenty-eight.
built in Ipswich at all?
No, not Ipswich.
Oh,
They won't use it on highways anymore. They won't use it on highways anymore, don't
Yeah,
last, don't last.
that's stupid, it lasts, it lasted fine.
Gets clogged.
That
and
section
then-
on one twenty-eight, it lasted fine.
So you
That
just
hasn't
built
been
in
replaced yet.
It's good for driveways.
Oh,
it's good for
Newburyport,
parking
Groveland,
lots.
about 20 houses over in Groveland
Trust me.
and Andover.
Driveways like this?
Topsfield, and
Uh-huh,
Newburyport, and so.
Less
uh-huh.
Haverhill,
traffic areas, definitely good for traffic, less traffic.
Excellent suggestion.
Hamilton.
I mean, the one thing I'm trying to do with my lot, which is a nice long noodle, is to alleviate some of this building. I mean, I'm planting trees, constantly planting trees. I mean, whatever I can do to, help Georgetown deal with their water issues, because we do have serious water issues. This is one of the main reasons why the project a year and a half ago, the neighborhood rose up and said, wait a minute, too much pavement, too much. And, looking at this proposal, if you can shrink it in any way possible, please do.
Yeah, I always thought that area would have been a nice thing for elderly. Elderly don't want 4-bedroom, and they could walk downtown. Personally, I think that would be an ideal spot for an elderly couple, and even the first-time home buyers to have a smaller place. I think that would fit in the character of the neighborhood.
The prior owners would have loved to have had your support 2 years ago, I think. I think that's what they were trying to do.
I did.
And I think she's right. I mean, the neighbors didn't want that.
They
And-
had
and-
too many units in a building.
Right,
That's
but
what
I mean, the
need
alternative, the economics of it are,
Yeah.
to make it viable,
Yeah.
the price that he paid, he needs to get 2 houses out. I mean, that's unfortunate. I mean, that was the trade-off, and I think we made that clear to the abutters a couple of years ago. And I think he's to be commended for not trying to squeeze, a lane out of this.
3 houses out of the 2 parking.
Well, okay, all right, so it could have been 4. I mean, there's room under your zoning, remember, under your zoning, 15,000 square
In
feet.
theory.
In theory, now,
In theory.
granted, the special permit would have been a wrinkle, but in theory, it would have been
It's not
possible.
a wrinkle, it's a pleat.
Well, okay. And again, following up on what's just been said, whether it's porous or not, it still makes sense to do a 12-foot driveway. I mean, it's 2 houses. To me, I understand why the 18 feet is in there. Again, I'll stress, it's gonna be private. It's just gonna be like any other common driveway. So to me, 18 feet's really kind of an overkill, given that. But, I understand the board is gonna be looking at that.
How wide is Blarney Court?
Blarney Court?
I think it's 20-something, 22, wasn't it most of the road?
22 feet?
No, I don't think so.
Pavement?
No?
But Blarney
not
Court,
paved.
Blarney Court
I
was
don't
one of the
remember
ones
the-
that
It's only paved,
spurred us
it's
to
only
move
paved
to change it to a.
In the
20
back or
feet
something,
in.
isn't it?
No, it's only paved
No, the
20
first one
feet
you
off
put
the
apron.
road.
Oh,
The apron
right
off
off
the
the
street.
road.
Yeah, that's first
Yeah,
one,
just like the apron going
Yeah, I
into
knew
it
it
is
wasn't
paved,
paved
the
all
rest
the
of it
way.
is not paved. Or
Yeah.
it didn't have to be, I don't know, maybe he paved it.
Quite frankly, I'm not too impressed with giving 10 feet to one homeowner. I wanna see some other benefit for the whole town, rather than just that. I mean, that doesn't impress me too much. How about you feel?
I look at it as though we have regulations, build it to the regulations, and I'll pretty much vote for it. If you're looking for waivers, there has to be a benefit to the town has to get something out of it. Or, I mean, there has to be some kind of a basis to grant a waiver more than Mitch looking at us and saying, please.
Well, all right, the benefit,
Yeah,
as
appreciate that.
The benefit is exactly what
the
she just
benefit, as she was saying, I mean, it gives
But
you
maybe.
more, it gives you more pervious soil. I mean, it's,
Can I,
Well,
what's gonna be the base
that
price of
question
these
is
houses?
obviated with the.
Excuse me?
What's gonna be the base price of these houses?
Well, depending on the size, which means everything these
They're
days.
anticipated. If you, in a perfect
550.
world for you,
Right.
if you were to build what you wanted, what would they sell for?
550,
550, so,
Talking $1,000,001 for taxes.
that's what I thought we'd be giving you
so
some
million
taxes.
one
Oh.
increase into the tax base. Plus the value of the road,
Plus a four,
because it's a private road,
four house, four lot.
plus the value of the road.
How do we get the
Hold
value
on
of the
a
road?
second.
It's a private road.
Okay.
I don't follow that at all, Chris, because you've got a 4-bedroom house. You're gonna have, if you have 3 children in those other 3 bedrooms besides the couple,
We're in the schools,
we're building a school.
12 years.
Oh,
Three kids?
the university we're building?
And we're
You're
building.
worried about 6 kids more in
No,
in that
no,
university?
but I mean, each one adds up,
Please.
and we got Lisa Lane, Turning Leaf, we've got that one to consider. I hope to God that the plans are gonna be sufficient,
Well,
what we're
can we know
doing it for
something,
the school.
Tilly? Have them buy the homes, dive in. The water's fine, the tax rate here in Georgetown is going up.
Can
Come
I
on
ask,
in.
can I interrupt?
Well-
And the reason I interrupt is because I want to, focus, we always have our say, we always have our say on the board, and, we always get a chance for comment. I'm not anxious to hear our comments, I know that'll come up. I'm anxious to hear the abutters that came in, it's almost 9 o'clock, the abutters, or the folks that are good enough to come in. I think there's a lady right here that may wish to say something, and I'd like to give her the opportunity, could you state your
Margaret
name?
Smith, I'm not, 70 North Street, I'm not a direct abutter. I want to say thank you to you for the house that you have put there, for reserving all of the trees that you have, even though we have a contest about one of them.
Yep.
I was very impressed with
Yep.
the way you did everything, the way
Thank
you
you.
talked to us. I was very pleased with all of that. I am thrilled to death not to have senior housing there and 16 condos or whatever the number was. The amount of traffic, the misrepresentation that I felt, not your fault, that I got from the neighbors that were building, wanted to build the previous project. So I simply wanted to state that I am pleased with that. I like the idea of trying to keep the impact down in the neighborhood, of keeping it as a driveway. All of those things make sense in the neighborhood. I do agree the house is very large, but anybody could have bought that lot and put in a 6-bedroom home if it fit the parameters of the lot. That house is close to my house, it fits the parameters of the lot, and he was entitled to build that home.
Mrs. Smith, will you just point out where you are?
I am
Oh,
70 North Street, so
okay.
I'm right next to the brand-new house.
Okay, good,
I'm here.
thank you. And how far back does your lot go? Where does your lot terminate?
My lot is non-conforming. I have 90 feet of frontage, I'm not exactly sure how far back
Gotcha.
it goes.
It's the same depth as this
It's
lot.
exactly the same, the lot line is exactly the same.
Thank you, I just wanted a point of reference there.
I just wanted to state that. You're welcome.
Thank you.
I'd also like just to make
Is there-
one more point on the discussion that was, there's 2 more houses with 4 more bedrooms each. There's actually only 1 more house with only, 1 more house, but there's only 2 more bedrooms. This was a two-family, 6-bedroom house that was here before. So we're only adding 2 bedrooms total. And 1 more house.
Size of that
And 1 more
house.
house.
The size of that house, was it, I don't think it was that wide, or didn't have a garage.
I must
Right,
say
right.
though, Tilly,
I
it
agree it
looks
wasn't
like,
as big as this, but it
but
was
it,
used.
it looks,
In-
in your drawing, it looks like it's about the size of the house.
Similar.
and
One of them.
It's similar,
The
it's close.
existing at 76.
It's an
I mean,
L-shaped
It looks very
thing.
Plus
similar.
they had a
No, no.
couple of sheds, I mean, there's other things that were there.
This one here.
This one here is.
Yeah,
is-
it's
Yeah,
about the same size, so it, yeah, it's not out of scale, really.
Attorney Cronin, is it fair to say the houses that are gonna go in the back are gonna be similar to the new one that's built out front?
We'll let the
Yes.
builder answer that, I
I
guess.
wanted to
what I
ask
was
it
hoping.
through,
Right?
I wanted to ask it through you.
Yes, I understand.
Yep.
Thank you, Chris.
Is there a photograph of that house?
Do you have one, do you?
I drive by it 3 times a day. You've done and I'm a contractor, you've done
Yep.
a nice job.
I drive it
thank you.
0 times like ever.
I drive by it.
He's not allowed to drive.
No, they don't, not on North Street anyway. Don't want to.
I see a hand in the audience, and that's
Scroll
Lilibeth.
back again. I personally would rather see the 12-foot driveway than the bigger one. The smaller driveway to me makes a lot more sense.
Is there anyone else that wanted to
That's
make a
actually,
comment?
That's my
that's
wife.
Steve's wife Dina, who's actually
Oh.
the realtor for what is 76 on the market for? 5, okay,
529.
79, but it's
579.
actually off
And
the
how long
market
has it
right
been
now.
on?
Don't try to bump it up tonight, just because you're on camera.
How long has it been on the
You know
market?
they'll take 725, 525.
It's not on the market?
It was on for a little over a month, and we're gonna finish up the kitchen and get it, in show condition and put it back on.
Paint, colors, carpet, I can pick everything out, and then I'll put it for sale again.
You haven't finished the inside at all?
It's just about there. Another
Oh, I
couple
got-
weeks. I'll invite you all over.
Cocktails.
Are there any other comments from the audience? I'm not hearing any. Any other comments from the board?
Mr. Chairman, I
Any
have,
other questions?
I have one observation. And the comment about circumventing the affordable housing, I want the applicant to know that this member doesn't feel that way. I feel, being in the construction business, and I think it's not only his obligation to himself and his family, but to build it the most economically feasible way. I'm not offended by it. And I hope my other board members are not offended by it.
Sure.
They are separate lots. To get around the affordable housing law, to sneak around it, in my mind, would be to reconfigure everything so you didn't have to do it. You're dealing with existing lots, so I just want to make sure that, I just wanted you to know that that's not the way this member on the board feels. I'm not the least bit offended by it.
And I think in fairness, and I think Tilly, you'll agree, from a builder's point of view, it was attractive to Steve because he could build on 76 right away.
Right.
That was the attraction. I don't know if he would have bought it, you don't have to, well, you can answer it if you want. I'm not sure he would have
I
bought
don't
it.
have the money, I mean.
But, I mean,
sit
that-
on it, you
that
know.
was-
Even sitting on this now hurts me, whatever, you know.
I would
I mean,
say-
I'm not Rockefeller, you know. I mean, it's expensive just to wait months, and it's taken, of course, the engineer months to get there. I know when I take the risk, I understand, I win and I lose some, you know, so, you know.
But that
it
was
is
the
what it
intent,
is.
that he could build on 76 because it was a
Right,
conforming
but
lot.
at the same point, we have a bylaw that hasn't been moving that much to create affordable housing. And I wanna see, what's the hitch here? And it appeared to me when I saw that, because the other applicant came in with it.
But you heard the abutters, I mean, they,
I know, I
you know.
heard them, and we heard them when.
Yeah, they
when
weren't against the
applicant-
I mean, it was,
the quantity of
right.
It was the quantity of units. Yeah. I don't think they object to affordable housing, it's
Right.
just that they objected to how many units. And, it just hasn't been moving, and that's how
But I don't think this is the one
when I
to,
saw that driveway going out there,
but I don't think this is the one to draw the stand on, frankly.
no, probably not. But I'm trying to.
Oh, no, I understand where no, it's a noble objective, I'm just not sure this is the lot to.
I'm trying to find out, if there's a problem with our regulations, then we've gotta find out.
It's two different projects happening to be done by the same developer next to each other, and so it's two different lots.
It still wouldn't get triggered by 3 anyway.
What's that?
It still wouldn't get triggered by 3
Yeah,
anyway.
I mean, a different person could have bought 76, I mean, it's.
Absolutely. Or you could have put a shell corporation to buy it or something. If no one has any more, comments from the public, and, if the board members are, in agreement to do it, I'd like to continue this. I'll accept a motion to continue this to, March 12th. That sound like an open night?
Okay.
March 12th at 7:41 p.m.
.8, no.
March. Excuse me. 3/12/14. Second, was that moved by you, Chris?
I'll second
It was.
And seconded by Tim. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries.
May I
Yeah.
ask one question?
No, it's too late. We already continued it. What you can ask?
No,
What's up?
I just wanna know if you, it's just going out to Graham, Larry Graham for a review.
Absolutely, we
We'll get the
voted that.
check.
Soon as the check is,
That will hopefully be,
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's why we're
Who
putting
has
it out
by
that
as well?
far. It's a month out, you know.
Right.
You're giving Larry,
There'll be
what,
enough
6?
time for-
What is that, 8 weeks?
8 weeks.
7, 8 weeks? If Larry doesn't get it back by then, I'll make a motion to fire Larry. How's that one? Welcome to the new year, kids. Welcome to 2014.
Elvis
It's a
says
brave new
nothing to
year.
do with it. All right, thanks. Thank you.
Good luck, sir.
Good night.
sneak, when is March?
Okay, we get some member counts? You wanna take a 5-minute break? What do you wanna do? Your call, guys. You just jump into it?
If we take a 5-minute break.
I can use it.
I'm gonna go go to sleep.
A minute to go to the board's room. Board's gonna take a 5-minute break here. Chris, you can hear?
Before they started the public hearing.
You weren't sleeping, you were excited. So far, so good.
They're treating you well. I'm glad to hear that.
How about yours?
Yes.
How are you?
Well, beat me to the bathroom. How's that one for?
Harry, wanna knock on Chris's door and, oh, there he goes. He just put it up.
Oh, when?
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the planning board. This is the, what is this, January 8th, 2014. We are now back in session. We're taking into account the planning office escrow funds releases. We have A through H. These are the M accounts. These are, from the numbers, these are historic M accounts. Funds that have been sitting in the town coffers that do not belong to the town, but belong to applicants of many, many years ago. And it's time to get them back to the rightful owners. The first one is M account number 26405. Yeah, hold it across the room so I can read it. This is Cedar Lane. And the second one is 26411, also Cedar Lane. And perhaps it would behoove us to take those two together. They seem like an easy one.
Total amount?
$18,791.47.
Why so much?
And I say these are easy because
Cedar Lane was just accepted by the voters of Georgetown at annual town meeting.
so this should be a relatively easy one.
Motion to return the money, Mr. Chair.
Is that how we put it?
Refund the money.
Motion to release the escrow? How do we put that? on the-
Release the escrow balance and to close the account.
To
Just like
release?
that I said, so
Yeah.
moved.
Release the balance and close the account. The accounts.
How come there's two different names on it for
Well,
Singleton?
give me a second for Mr. Rich's motion,
All right, second.
and Tilly seconds.
How come there's Sharing Cross Realty and then Cedar Lane Realty?
One was opened up to review, and then a second was opened up later on. Because there is additional conditions put forth, and those conditions have been met. Let me outline that for you, Tilly. I had provided this a while back, so it's not fresh in my head.
The bottom line of it is, town meeting has accepted these, and
If the street's accepted.
regardless of what should have been done, could have been done, was supposed to have been done, it's all wiped clean, because the town now owns it. So,
Right, one was established as an escrow, and the other was deposited into the funds to pay for supplemental review by the town, not having to do with review of the subdivision plans, so.
any more questions regarding it? Board ready to vote on these?
Yep.
Sure. All in favor of releasing the two M accounts for Cedar Lane? 26405, 26411. Say aye.
Aye.
Right.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
And again, for the planning board members.
5-0.
There's two forms that need to be signed for each M account. There's the certificate of the vote, which is required per the escrow agreement, and then the voucher, which is required by the town accountant, so there's two sheets for each escrow to be signed.
Maybe the best way to deal with this, Howard, would be lay them over there on that table,
All right,
rather than passing them through, because they get lost. Lay them on that table, and we can sign them at the end of the night.
Sign the buffet style.
Yeah, buffet style sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, as if they were
Vegas or
mine.
cruise ship?
Right.
I like the cruise ship way. That deals with A and B, and now we're looking at account number. Now we deal with account number 26412, which is Renyard Lane. Partridge.
Total bill?
And the amount for that one is what?
$11,300.60. These account balances were updated by the town accountant yesterday. So they will be different than what was provided in your packet.
Okay, so we can discuss it. I'll take a motion to release 26412 and to close the account.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Rich. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Tim. And discussion.
Thanks.
Which one is this one?
This is Foxhall, which contains Reynard Lane and Partridge Place.
Are they both accepted?
Renyard Lane.
I'm trying to.
Renyard,
South Pillsbury.
is that over, yeah, that's off of Pillsbury, but
Right, we've been hearing
Partridge.
about it from,
Partridge, I'm not getting that one. I'm not pulling that one out of my memory, that's for
I
sure.
think
It's
it's
in
a,
the pear tree.
Yeah.
The family?
With the
lives
turtle
there?
dove?
Yeah, Pear
who
Tree
was that,
Court.
who was that complainer that lives on Reynard Lane? Or is it Pillsbury? That comes
She
to
lives
the-
on Pillsbury.
Oh.
She's got the flooding due to the beavers and things
Right.
like that.
I was wondering that.
Beavers and the dams and the dam beavers.
Hmm.
What was this,
Both,
what was this for? I'm looking, in the next one in the book here is Kendall, I'm not pulling this one.
For Foxhall subdivision, Reynard Lane and Partridge Place are, both streets have been accepted by the town.
Oh, they've been accepted. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
What did
Unanimously.
you do with those two escrows you just gave?
Okay. Next one is D.
So moved.
Emma. Account number 26413, Silver Mine. And,
The account balance is $2,665.66.
66 cents. Motion's been made by Mr. Rich,
Oh, you
To
have
release.
this one here, 13 cents.
seconded by
Me.
Tim.
This is
And
this one.
again, this has been accepted?
Yes, Silver Mine has been
Silver
accepted.
Mine's been, yeah, Silver Mine, we accepted that just a little while back, right? A couple of years ago.
So our number is different than what you're reading.
Correct, because they've been updated since that time.
Cool.
That takes into account the balance that will be generated by the end of January on the account.
Cool. All in favor of releasing the 26413 account for Silver Mine, say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Am I doing all right here, Wendy? Am I going too fast, too slow?
No, it's fine.
You got it under control, huh? On to E, M account. Number 26418, John Enos Brockway.
So moved.
Brock
For discussion.
Way. Motion,
Brock Way is also known as
I didn't have a
Crescent.
second yet. Hang on one second, Howard, please.
Second.
Motion to release, close the account.
Who did the
by-
motion,
By
Chris?
Chris,
Who's this?
and
Yeah,
it was
William.
seconded by Tim.
Oh.
Go ahead, Tom, sorry. Just to
Brock
keep the
Way
record
is
straight.
also known as Crescent Meadow Lane, which is, this is what you and I
Yeah,
talked about.
that's the one off of,
When you're
off
heading
of
towards
Andover.
Andover, you make a left. Right there is the
Yeah.
first one on the left. that
So
goes up.
that's a private way, right? That
It's a
hasn't been
private
accepted
way.
by the town.
Right.
And
As I
what
understand
year
it, it
was
was
that
not
approved in?
constructed to,
What year are we looking at now?
Wasn't Mr. Enos in here recently?
Barry?
No, not Barry. A representative of Jack Enos. Wasn't he in the office recently? He wants to build on that?
no, I don't recall. He wants to build on Crescent Meadow?
He wants to build on Brock Lane,
Oh,
a single-family home for himself, I believe.
I haven't seen anything, in the
I don't
planning
think there are any
office.
existing homes on it, are there?
There are.
There are, because one of them was
full
getting
lot
a-
subdivision, isn't it?
getting a
there are?
pool request from the zoning board because of
Oh, I might be confused with
Dimensions.
something else, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Is that been?
It was a 4-lot subdivision, and I looked at an aerial of it, and it was provided in the packet, and as I recall, there's only 3 homes that are built.
There is a lot, though, that's empty.
There is a lot, but I
Yeah.
thought that lot was unbuildable, or it was,
Want to put a hold on this one, guys, till we look into it a little further?
Maybe,
If the street's in, that's all we're concerned about, right?
what's
Right,
that
streets
gonna-
in, it hasn't been
Private way.
accepted, but
It
it
hasn't been accepted by the
It's
town,
a
so
private
we,
way and the street's in,
right, but we don't know if
and
it's
it's a
in.
4-lot subdivision, and there's, well, if anybody wants to do anything else, put a street in. In
I-
addition to the street, don't they have to come back?
No.
I thought Jack wanted to put
Yeah, but you can't hold
put
it,
the,
hold the
little
escrow money forever.
gravel roads and he could
for
No,
the
but that-
next
run
project.
his golf cart and it connected to the club. I thought that, if I remember right, that's what the plan was.
I don't think, that's,
It abuts the club, doesn't it?
No,
no,
No?
no,
it's
it's up
much
further.
farther down. And if you look on the aerial, it wasn't built to subdivision to be accepted, because it's actually got a Y, just like this court does. It doesn't have a
Doesn't have a
cul-de-sac bulb on the end of
But
it.
isn't there
I
like,
think the holdup on that house, now that I remember, is there's a wetland issue and a crossing.
There's a lot of wetland down there.
Yeah, and
My only concern with, and I think it's great that we're going back and we're releasing these. My only concern is that we're going back in time now. These are back in the 90s that these were approved.
oh, then I'm gonna
And,
forget the question.
well,
It's been since the 90s.
yeah, these are very, very old subdivisions. And my concern is that these funds may have been kept sometimes for a bond, sometimes for surety.
Well, we gotta clean up the books anyways.
Absolutely. But in the same way that we
This-
learned from 161 Main Street that sometimes the best way to ensure compliance with something that's supposed to happen in the future,
But,
best way to comply
but
is
this,
to have a bond.
this
to
doesn't
hold
go
for
back
surety.
to Brockway in its original. It
I'm
goes
sorry?
back to 2001.
Okay. And this was to build Brockway? That was built in 2001?
It all went towards, to pay Graham Associates for review of Brockway and Crescent Meadow.
Okay.
It originated, the Muni report states it as 131, 2001.
January 31st, 2001. Yeah. Well, my only concern, and the board can do whatever it wants or release the money, I'm not trying to hold anybody's money back. My only concern is that, there's no question that if a road has been accepted, that it's built to standards. There's no question. We've checked it out. We've had it checked out 100 times. My concern with a private way is that something was supposed to be done for the roadway, for the owners of those lots. And whether it was or was not done, we don't know.
Well,
And
have
and
you
I agree with that, Harry, but
Yeah.
in this instance, our research turned up the fact that this M account was established for the preliminary subdivision plan.
For the preliminary subdivision.
Right, and the board, no, I'm sorry, that's not correct, because it was established after the preliminary subdivision plan, so this was with the
Should
definitive.
be for the definitive,
Right.
yeah. On
Was
just,
there a review by the technical review
yeah,
engineer?
Yes, that's all been completed, and,
And it's all in the positive?
yeah, a motion to approve Crescent Meadow Lane.
God bless you.
Ooh, good one.
Thank you.
But that would be the subdivision permit, that would be the decision.
Right,
Now, it's the question that is hanging at this point.
No, but my question was, did the technical review engineer
God bless you.
inspect it afterwards? God bless you
Yeah,
again.
the post-inspection.
Was there a final inspection
Yeah.
saying everything was done copacetically?
for the road?
For the installation of the roadway.
Yeah, the road.
No, it was just done for the review of the subdivision. And it was also done with Millennium Engineering and not with BSC Group.
Okay, so Millennium would have been the one that would have done the inspection in 2001
Right.
during the building.
So if there's a concern of releasing all these funds, the $883 and change, then
Is that the total?
$883.77.
So if we had a pothole, that's about enough to
$883.87.
cover the whole street.
Well, it's a private way too,
Yeah.
so.
I'm not gonna
Okay,
worry about
yeah, I'm not gonna worry about that. I didn't realize that was the amount.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Motion carries unanimously. Good. And that's E, three to go, guys. Three to go. Easy now.
I'm reading it.
Number 26444, and Sunset Rock Associates. Elkhorn, Acorn Way. How much is that amount, Howard?
$6.55.
$6.55.
Oh,
Is
we
there a
need to have
second?
a lot of discussion.
Is there a second? Seconded by
Second.
Tim, moved by Chris.
Let her rip.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously. Next on the list is M account number 26500.
For discussion purposes.
Artisan Development / Lisa Lane, rear OSRD, and motion by Chris,
Tim, second.
second by Tim. That's just for the, that's for the preliminary, right?
Just for the preliminary. There's
That's
been a
kind of
separate
Lisa.
M account established for the definitive plan.
Yeah, okay. All in favor of releasing?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
The amount is $2,475.41.
Motion carries unanimously. And last but not least, this is account number 26433, NEL Corp.
NEL Corp.
/ One Farm Lane.
Second.
Motion by Chris. Chris moves it. Seconded by Tim. What's that amount?
$3,429.99.
$28, or is that I'm sorry, that's the definitive number that you said, yeah. Yep.
Okay. What is this for? One Farm Lane. This is not a subdivision.
No, this is for a special permit application regarding property on Farm Lane. And the planning board voted to approve the applicant's request to construct an addition to the existing facility.
What year was this?
2001.
2000?
October 24th, 2000.
And what do we have showing inspection that it was done correctly? Up to the conditions and all that?
We just have notice from the technical review engineer and the site inspecting engineer that they're complete. All their inspecting fees have been paid. And so, if you're looking for a final report from them, or
Well, if it's a special permit application, I guess what I'm trying to find out is this money that was for the review, or is this money that was held in 2001 for performance of something that was supposed to be done?
There's loads of conditions, it's here in page
Mhm.
4 or 6.
Right, and I don't
Is
doubt
the
that.
as-built
Yeah,
approved?
well, this is the problem with the site plan.
Well, Mr. Chairman, rather than put the planner on the spot right now, can we put this over to the next meeting?
I don't have an objection to that. It's-
we've got a canceled check that says escrow for site plan review.
Want to hold off on it, guys? Want to withdraw your
Can
motion?
we find,
Withdraw your motion, and what
well,
we'll
for
do is...
discussion purposes, I made the motion.
Okay.
We had to discuss it.
Okay.
So,
All in favor, then vote down the, what do you call it, and then we can make a motion to have him look into it.
well, want me to
Vote down
withdraw
the-
the motion?
Withdraw the motion, sure.
I'll withdraw the motion, Mr. Chairman. if-
Tim, you want to
Second.
withdraw?
Yeah.
The second? Motion's a withdraw, motion and second are withdrawn. And I think by unanimous
Pending
consent,
further.
unanimous consent, Howard will look into this.
this near you, off of,
This is off of,
Jewett?
no, not
Jackman?
Jewett, Jackman. This is up near Jackman, yeah.
So were you in a butter?
No, I'm far away from One Farm Lane.
Are you? Oh,
Oh, yeah.
I thought it might be in your
Well, it's sneezing
backyard.
going on.
Farm Lane comes off of
Sneezing going
Jackman.
on here. Got sneezing back here.
So,
right?
you'll look into it, Alan?
Yeah,
Find
I'll
out a
look
little
for
bit more.
additional
Find out,
information
make
to-
sure that it was just,
Clarify if all the.
somebody had to inspect it after it was approved and built.
And I'll look for the inspection report.
If not, flow down there with
Can I have this
John
copy,
and
unless
take
you
a
wanna
peek at
take
it.
it home and bring it home? I was gonna ask Howard to include him in next month for the hearing.
Give me that again, Chris?
This information that was given out, people wanna, so we don't kill any more trees, maybe the planner can put them in the packets for that month.
Sure, of course. Good idea. Can I have a set of those plans, Lynn? No.
Expensive pen.
I'd really like to see them before I leave.
Exploding pen.
Well, I'd like a set of the plans before I leave for that.
There's 4 here, so.
Some there, right? Okay, so, any concern from a planning board member or a member of the public?
Casper?
Anything, Bob?
No,
Any concerns? Tim, you all right?
Yeah.
On your way out, just make sure you sign the M County
Yeah,
releases.
step up to the snack bar.
It's delicious.
Really?
I'll take some shrimp.
Oh, what?
Anything, any general concern?
Oh, yes, we were talking about something. Let's see. I wrote it down too. When I recall, being on the zoning board, we sent applications as we got them to all of the boards, much as we do for site approval in our processes. And I don't know what happened that we're not getting the applications for permits from the ZBA.
You are.
Where are they? I haven't seen.
When I get something from the zoning board, they're provided in the packet. You need to look back, because that Dunkin' Donuts Plaza was first before the zoning board back in July.
Yeah, I remember that, that was in there.
So, look back at your packet from July and see if it's in there. If it's not, then I'll apologize, but.
Main thing is,
I know
you get
Patty's
them,
been very diligent on
you get them and you
coordination,
send them to us, right?
Right.
Where would you give us that, under correspondence or
so correspondence.
under correspondence? Oh, we'll keep an eye out for them.
So I can't go
Good.
very far.
All right, so,
It's good that Patty's been sending them, that's great.
yeah, that's
That was
what,
my
that's what
plan.
I wanted to, because when
I've got the ink and I know what to do.
past Thursday, that you said
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
you had transmitted the packet, I didn't get it till the following weekend, Monday, I think.
Right.
It's town hall server.
There's upgrades being done to the server that are nearly complete, and every once in a while, there's a hiccup on something outgoing. So.
So if,
But-
looking at
but-
that decision.
But the hard copy was provided at the police station.
Well, I was looking at some other communities, how they went about it. And some of the permitting requirements on their schedules indicates that they also, the zoning boards request submittal from the planning board before they have the hearing
Down there.
This is Lisa Lane.
of their
Acorn,
input and
which is the
all.
one that we don't.
And they can't even have that hearing scheduled
Farm
until
lane.
No,
the planning board
So he
answers it.
probably didn't put it out.
Comments?
Yeah, and I think we've gotta be better and tighter with communicating.
Right, and I understand that, Tilly, but at the same time, aren't you, in effect, in some way, doing an informal review on an application that's going before the zoning board?
But they've already gotten their special permit. We can't deny
Well,
a site approval. We could say where you wanna place whatever, and they have to follow it, but the thing is that,
No, it's site plan approval, we can deny. Site plan review, we can't.
But in some instances of the development, it behooves the applicant to go in and see if they're gonna get a change of use. And if that gets denied, they're not gonna go ahead and do a site plan
Forward
at
for a
all.
site plan.
Well,
There's a lot of engineering behind the
I
site plan.
tell you,
so-
I'm squirmish about doing a site approval when the permit is already granted.
The permit on the
think it should be-
use,
I think
So
it
you're-
should be already, I think it should be the other way around. I think we should be communicating better, have an input
we are
for certain
communicating well,
things.
and I'm a little upset you're suggesting it's not happening. What's happening is that it's not happening the way you think it needs to happen.
That's right.
And I'm
That's what
telling
I'm
you,
saying.
right, and it's happening at the level that it needs to.
I don't think so, because
Okay.
I'm disappointed.
Well, you're saying that an applicant ought to come in and do a site plan review and then go before the zoning board where they may not even be granted a use?
Yeah, that's
I'm
putting the horse
saying
before the carriage.
that's an alternative, but the other alternative is that we look at the application and give any input at all.
But then
to
you're
them.
doing an informal review and this board is
can
on
I
the
ask a
record.
question?
I think you might be breaking the law there.
Can I
If
ask a
you,
question?
you might be showing a predisposition.
When the ZBA sends out the notice, don't the notice is sent to planning board, Concom, Board of Selectmen, Board of Health, et cetera, et cetera.
And just like we give copies of applications to the zoning board and all other town departments for their input.
The idea is a 30-day period there where we have to make a comment.
Right.
Traditionally, what happens is you would make a comment, or for the staff, because by the time.
And
we
I
have a
update the
meeting-
board of any applications before the zoning board.
Well,
The
right
same thing
now-
happened with Noonan's. We got notice of the application before Noonan's.
But we didn't get the plans at all, and we haven't had a site approval for that.
To the point.
Or there's one
Have they applied
for
for
the
site?
Dunkin'
they haven't
Donuts.
applied for the site plan.
Evidently, neither
We
one of
haven't
them
had a
have-
site approval for them.
Yeah, neither one of them have come in for a site approval.
Yeah.
What are they, well, they must be drawing their plans.
And there's gonna be another application coming in based on my watching. Let's see how, when we get it. Dunkin' Donuts wants to buy the building and the lot next door. And they've got a purchase and sale agreement.
Right.
So you know that already.
Yeah,
Who's
Where is that application?
because I don't have an application. I know it's happening,
Yeah.
same way you do, but I don't have an application to pass on to the board.
Where is that?
Is that is that the historic building?
Yeah.
Next to it?
Yeah.
It's not historic. Why, because it's old?
It's over 75 years, it's historic.
Historic, if the historical commission says so.
No, it's historic if it's over 75 years. It
Okay.
may or may not be significant
I thought it was.
unless the historical commission
It's
says.
50 years, I think. Is it 50, I think.
Well, they're not gonna be able to do anything unless it's determined and there's a historic commission that needs to weigh in on it.
Absolutely. Huh, interesting. Well, they certainly can't demo it without
No.
getting a demo.
Yeah, that's.
Well,
Demolition
with the-
permit.
If they come in for a demolition permit from the building inspector, he's gonna coordinate with.
Oh, yeah, he's gonna bounce it right to them, to the
Well,
historic.
after I read that permit, and it's in the packet for Dunkin' Donuts, there was so many questions that I had about it,
I think it's so.
that I felt that we definitely should have had more input with that one. I don't know any others offhand, but that one, I thought, number one, they have a use in there for,
You'd have to talk to Mike
is it medical offices.
Guys,
It's not allowed in that district, period,
guys,
at all.
Oh, gee.
And the district that is, the medical offices are allowed, the planning board is the one who gives a special permit. They granted that among the other uses. And it's not pre-existing non-conforming at all, because the medical offices were only there for a few years. So I don't know how that happened.
But isn't that the whole purpose of the zoning board of appeals? To go in and, if it's not allowed in that zoning district, to get permission to put it in that zone?
But it wouldn't
That
be,
district?
it wouldn't be if we, first off, if it was done correctly, the building inspector would have denied it because it's in the RA district. So after that denial, then the zoning board would go to it. Yes, that's
Isn't that
true.
what brought them to the zoning board?
I don't know what
I don't know what
brought
brought them, I don't know what
I thought it was the
started it off.
septic that
But
got
just
it
because he
moving.
didn't deny it, doesn't mean you can't just go directly to them.
No, that's true, they could do that.
You know, they may have said, this isn't allowed, we have to go before the ZBA.
Right,
So they go before the ZBA says, well, okay.
oh,
And then it comes to the planning board for site plan review.
yeah.
Exactly.
But at this point, they, for whatever reason, the applicant for Dunkin' Donuts and the same for Noonan's and is there another one, I guess, somewhere floating around? These folks just haven't chosen to come get site plan approval yet.
Yeah.
Right.
But if they go for occupancy permits or building permits, they're not gonna get them.
They might be, things aren't cheap. They might be saving their money and putting, we didn't have enough money to get all the appropriate documentation done.
Oh, they could be getting engineering drawings, engineering done, absolutely.
If it's justified there,
Well,
it's justified.
What's our hurry?
And, it's up to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's up there.
We're not gonna say, oh, you went before the ZBA, you've got 10 days to get before us.
No, they have a year.
No, but
Yeah, but we don't
sometimes
need them standing in line at our door, is what I'm saying.
With
They
a
have a year
special-
to come,
Every year.
come to us.
when a special
Maybe,
permit,
yeah.
like Noonan's, let's say, when a special permit for Noonan's is predominantly it was all outside, that's our area. That particular, application, I think would have been very wise if they came for the site approval first and then got the use. Because all of the questions, all of their concerns had to do with outside the site,
Tilly,
in the site,
all
you know.
of the money is spent on the site approval, on what we do. The engineering, why would they wanna spend all of that money before knowing that they're gonna be allowed to do it there?
Green light, red light.
The variance.
It's a gate, yeah, I mean, it really is a
Exactly.
gate, and
The
Yeah.
variance
Until you
is
walk
the-
through the gate, you don't wanna
least
spend the money for the
inexpensive part
engineering.
of that process.
Right. Yeah.
If
But
that
that
gate's
whole
locked, you
hearing
wanna-
was
you
all
won't
about
wanna
outside,
spend
what
that-
happened
spend that money.
outside. Everything about it was outside.
Well, the unique thing about that.
And
that-
all they could say is, that's a site approval,
No,
that's
they
a
wanna
site
build, they
approval.
wanna build a new cafe there.
Right.
Uh,
Which is unique, and that's different because it's a restaurant use.
Yeah.
But there wasn't a use variance written into the decision, which
Right.
I found unique.
When they come in for site plan, the planning board's gonna decide if this is what the zoning board had approved in terms of use.
But that might be their delay. They may have been, they may have thought, we're gonna put this mini golf in, and then things have changed with tenants on their property, and now they
Right.
wanna put their own facility in, and they may be going back to the ZBA.
Right.
For a clarification or a modification or.
A major modification. And then they'll have all their ducks in order and wanna come before us.
And if they go back before the zoning board for major clarification, we're gonna get notice of that, so.
Exactly.
Excellent.
And that's another issue that you reminded me of, is that the zoning board is hearing modifications of variances. And I was told you can't do that unless your bylaw says you can. A use variance or a use, let's say just variances, period, is a forever thing. It lasts forever.
It runs with the
goes-
land.
It runs with the land.
The variance runs
So
with the land.
how can you modify it, and carry on if you've got it already on the books and this is it? You can't just go ahead and change it. So unless your bylaw says you can, it allows it.
unless there's a process.
Like a special permit, you can come in for modification for a non-conforming use because the bylaw says so. We can do that for site approval because we have it in our bylaw. But a use variance, and that's one of the things I was hoping you could check on that, to see where we could put it in our bylaw. Because if they're gonna continually do use variances, we better have it in there because the legal
You mean
expenses.
continually, if they're gonna continue to do modifications to
Modifications
use
for use
variance?
variances.
Because just variances now are hardly ever done, it's all by special permits.
Sometimes.
Well, they did it
call
with Dunkin' Donuts.
Sometimes they call it a modification, but if they go through all of the procedures as if it were a variance,
It becomes a new one.
it becomes a new variance.
Variance
Even
de
though they
novo.
call it a modification,
Yeah.
and I did look it up at another proceeding they were having that I was,
Observing.
that's a nice way to put it.
Curious about perhaps.
Very curious. And although it was called a modification, they did meet all the notice requirements of a new variance. So it basically was tantamount to a new variance, because all the notice requirements were done. They can call it anything they want, but it was,
Will Whittick Court approve that? call it anything you want?
As long as all the notice requirements were done.
Well, that's the open meeting law requirement, but I mean,
No,
as
no,
far
no,
as.
that's the notice requirements for all the abutters and.
Yeah, that's
For a
the
variance.
open meeting
Yeah.
law.
Yeah.
One of the things,
Not open meeting,
you know, for
48.
me as kind of the new guy on the block, one of the things that's
How long are you
fascinating.
how long are you gonna say that?
For as long until I'm
You were saying it
fired.
for 3 years.
He's been saying it for, what, 20 years?
I'm still saying it.
No,
I'm
it's,
sorry.
it's fascinating to me, the amount of process that there is. It's quite arcane. And
Yeah.
there are as many, well, let me put it this way. It's never going to satisfy everybody. There are going to be individuals that are going to have situations that the rules are going to just seem incredibly stupid.
The craziest part about it is that a lot of the rules are very antiquated. And even though you're reading something and you think, oh, wow, I've got it down because that's what this says, that's not what the court decided when they interpreted it, when the case law came in.
And
it's
that's
very
the
old.
issue that I'm
Case
concerned
law is
about,
the big
is that we're gonna get caught and it's gonna be very costly for the town. Legal expenses are
I
phenomenal.
certainly understand that, but I think that could be true for virtually anything, because anybody can sue anybody for anything.
That's true.
Not necessarily gonna win, but
But you wanna,
that's the legal
but as far
system.
as the town,
Making things.
as far as the
It's a
town,
law,
you
you
wanna
know.
follow what laws you have on the books. That's the only thing you have.
right.
You can't be, capricious and just do it
Absolutely.
because you,
Absolutely.
whoever it is. So, that's why I'm a tickler, if you might say, on getting the laws right.
I
And
agree.
doing the best you can.
I would call you a stickler more than a tickler, actually. Perhaps.
I don't wanna know
And-
how you'd know that distinction.
And I'm hoping that Howard
maybe
can
it's something
find that
Howard
out
can look
about
into.
modifications of
Maybe if
variances.
there's
Yeah, I'll look
something
into
there
it.
that we need to work in conjunction with the ZBA for a modification to the bylaw, that would benefit them. As one member of the board, I wouldn't mind you spending some of your time helping them out. I know the clerk,
Yeah.
Matty, only has limited hours, so if you can find a few minutes to help, I don't have an objection to it, I know that.
And Howard's on the zoning board in Newburyport, so he's.
Oh, jeez, we don't want Newburyport here.
You're on the zoning board in Newburyport?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, no excuses why you don't know the zoning now.
Yeah, but Newburyport does
I'm
crazy
not throwing
things.
myself into this tiger den right now.
Right. There's a bus waiting for you to just glide down.
Ah,
Yeah.
Don't,
It's one of those tandem buses.
Cross the picket line.
they do like 6 a night, don't you?
Really.
That's how they do. That's the place to build.
That's the
Buffet
cha-ching, cha-ching.
I see you've already started.
They spit them out. Okay, did I hear you make a motion to adjourn, Chris?
I move we, second.
And I know I heard you second. Bob,
I almost seconded before.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries
Thank you, guys.
unanimously. Meeting adjourned at, what is that, 9:41? You agree with that, Wendy, 9:41? As long as you agree. Good night, everybody. Happy New Year. See you on the 22nd. Bye-bye.